Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Thank you for being patient. We just came out of closed session. So may I have roll call, please?
Councilmember Ayala?
Here.
Councilmember Rhodes?
Here.
Councilmember Litzter?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Judge?
Here.
And Mayor Kavanaugh?
Here. City Attorney, do we have anything to report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nothing to report out of closed session.
Thank you. Are there any items for agenda review? Whoops, I forgot an important thing. I'm sorry. I'm looking around. Mr. Fuchiwaki, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Now, are there any items for agenda review?
Madam Mayor, there are none.
Thank you.
I move that all resolutions and ordinances presented tonight be read in title only and all further reading be waived.
Second.
Thank you. Call for the vote, please.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. If any member of the City Council may have a conflict of interest or any reason why that member must abstain from consideration of any matter on this agenda, he or she should so declare at this time. Seeing none, we can move on. Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, the first item on the agenda is item 1D1. Presentation of 30-year service awards to custodians Georgia Davidson, Stevie Brucey, and Ricardo Rivera. And Public Works Director Ron Fuchiwaki is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and council members. I'd like to call down Georgia, Steve, and Rick. This evening, it is my pleasure to introduce three Public Works employees, as indicated, Georgia Davidson, Stephen Brucey, and Ricardo Rivera, that are each being recognized for 30 years of service to the city of Simi Valley. You didn't know half the city was going to turn out for you, did you? The three of them work behind the scenes to ensure that our city buildings and buses are clean and safe. Georgia Davidson has proudly performed custodial duties for the Cultural Arts Center, Public Services Center, and the Transit Building. In maintaining these three facilities each night, Georgia accomplishes it with consistency, care, and a smile. Georgia is a 40-plus year Simi Valley resident. She has 5 adult children, 2 boys and 3 girls, and 11 grandkids. You beat me. She loves hiking and enjoys going to church and socializing with friends. Stephen Brucey is responsible for the daily cleaning and sanitizing of the city's transit fleet of 25 buses and vans, often performing this work single-handedly. He also works at the Rec and Parks District during the evening, where he contributes for the past 30 years. Steve is a proud Marine. And as they say, once a Marine, always a Marine, and is dedicated to service in every sense. He is married, has 3 adult daughters, and matter of fact, his wife is here to join us tonight. 3 adult daughters and 3 grandchildren, and of course, everybody has 2 dogs. Steve likes to walk on the beach and enjoys spending quality time with his grandkids. Ricardo Rivera has been at the heart of the custodial care at the Senior Center for 29 of his 30 years. The Senior Center is a busy hub of activity, requiring multiple room setups and changes each day. This is a challenge Rick handles with patience and pride. Outside of work, Rick also serves as a postman for the Point Mugu Naval Base for the last 25 years. He's a handyman, cyclist, and hiker, and shares his home with his wife, who is a nurse, also known as Nurse Lorena. And they have a beloved fur baby as well. Together, George, Steve, and Rick Georgia Stephen Rick represent an extraordinary 90 years of essential service to our city. It is also worth noting that our custodial crew collectively brings over 300 years of combined service to the city of Simi Valley. Please join me in congratulating and thanking Georgia Stephen Rick for their remarkable commitment, loyalty, and pride in their work for their 30 years of service. Their contributions have truly helped keep our city shining, literally and figuratively.
You don't get to sneak off yet. I just want to personally say thank you for all that you've done. 30 years here at the city is just an awesome accomplishment, and we wouldn't be the great city we are without you guys. So thank you for everything you've done. Would you like to say anything? Rick, anything? Rick will. Okay.
Good evening, and thank you for my 30 years in the city of Simi Valley, and I'm working forward for another 30 years.
All right. Thank you all very much. I think, did you get your picture? Okay. She wants a team photo.
I'd also like to take the opportunity to point out that after this ceremony, they're off back to work to do their normal duties.
Well, congratulations, and thank you all very much. Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D2, presentation of a proclamation declaring the month of November 2025 as Indigenous Heritage Month, and Senior Management Analyst Heidi DiNardo is here to present this item.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. In 1977, the concept of establishing Indigenous Peoples Heritage Month was first proposed by a delegation of Native nations to the United Nations-sponsored International Conference on Discrimination Against Indigenous Populations in the Americas. The City of Simi Valley acknowledges it is built upon the homelands and villages of the Ventureño-speaking Chumash Indigenous peoples of this region. The city, as it is known today, originally called Simiji by the Chumash, would not exist if it were not for their stewardship. Building on this recognition, the City of Simi Valley remains committed to protecting and advocating for the dignity of all people who live, work, and visit in the community. The city also supports the principles contained in the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, which the United States endorsed in 2010. The city recognizes the value of the many contributions made to the community through Indigenous peoples' knowledge, labor, spirituality, technology, science, philosophy, arts, and cultural traditions, contributions that have substantially shaped the character of Simi Valley. In this spirit, the City of Simi Valley expresses its gratitude to Indigenous peoples on behalf of all people in recognition of their care of the land. The city sets aside this month to reflect upon the struggles of Indigenous people of this land and to celebrate the honor, the heritage, resiliency, and diverse culture of Indigenous peoples, including the Chumash, who originally settled what is known today as Simi Valley. For these reasons, the City Council of the City of Simi Valley proclaims November 17th, 2025 as Indigenous Peoples Heritage Month in the City of Simi Valley. The city celebrates the thriving and resilient cultures and values of Indigenous people in this community and encourages continued recognition, appreciation, and celebration of goodwill and friendship with local Indigenous peoples, presented this 17th day of November 2025.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D3, presentation of a proclamation declaring the month of October 2025 as Hindu Heritage Month, and Senior Management Analyst Heidi DiNardo is presenting this item.
Good evening again. If we wouldn't mind having some of our guests that are going to receive the Hindu proclamation, I'd love for you to come on towards the front. Thank you. The state of California officially designated October as Hindu Heritage Month, recognizing the profound contributions of Hindu Americans to the spiritual, cultural, and civic life of our state. Sewa Diwali is a community-led celebration inspired by Diwali, the ancient Hindu festival of lights, which symbolizes the eternal triumph of light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance, and righteousness over injustice. Sewa Diwali elevates the sacred principle of sewa, selfless service, as a living expression of dharma, righteous duty, karuna, compassion, and loka sangraha, the welfare of all beings, which are values deeply rooted in sacred Hindu scriptures. Sewa Diwali honors the spirit of giving, compassion, and volunteerism, encouraging individuals and families to engage in acts of kindness and service to uplift their communities. The lighting of diyas, lamps, during Sewa Diwali symbolizes not only the dispelling of darkness, but also the illumination of the soul through service, humility, and gratitude, principles that transcend faith and inspire universal harmony. During this auspicious season, Hindu dharmic organizations, linguistic associations, and social cultural groups across the city of Simi Valley and across the nation have come together in unity to serve the community through food drives and acts of kindness that reflect the timeless teachings of Hindu tradition. The city of Simi Valley celebrates the rich tapestry of Hindu traditions, including its languages, arts, rituals, and philosophies that promote peace, inclusivity, and the reverence for all life. For these reasons, the city of Simi Valley hereby commemorates the month of October 2025 as Sewa Diwali, a festival of service, light, and Hindu heritage in the city of Simi Valley, and encourages all residents to honor this occasion by engaging in acts of service, celebrating the richness of Hindu culture, and fostering unity, compassion, and collective well-being throughout the community. Thank you.
I had the pleasure, probably 5 to 10 years ago, of hearing a Hindu priest speak, and he explained how the beginning of the religion started all the way up to current day. It was very beautiful. It was very, very interesting, and I've remembered that every day since. So thank you all for being here. We're proud to give you this proclamation, and I think we have people who are going to take pictures, right? Okay. Did you want to speak?
Good evening, Mayor, honorable members of the City Council, and our distinguished guest. On behalf of the entire Hindi community, we stand before you tonight with deep gratitude and humility. Thank you for this historic proclamation recognizing Sewa Diwali, a festival of service, light, and Hindu heritage. We are proud to call Simi Valley home. We see ourselves as an integral thread of this vibrant city. Our sincerest thanks to the City Council for your leadership and partnering with us to foster a stronger and inclusive Simi Valley. Thank you so much.
Oh. Thank you all. Congratulations. Thank you. All right, thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D4, presentation of Employee of the Month to Sandra Fuentes, and Public Works Director Ron Fuchiwaki is here to present this item.
Good evening again. If Sandra could come down and join us. There she is. In the meantime, it is my pleasure to introduce you to the November Employee of the Month, Sandra Fuentes. Sandra has been a transit supervisor for Simi Valley Transit for 19 years. In her role, she plays a vital part in ensuring the safe and efficient operation of our transit system. Her duties include overseeing daily transit operations, supporting our bus drivers, and ensuring our riders receive excellent customer service. Sandra's attention to safety and responsiveness to service needs help. The service helps the city maintain high standards for our community. On August 11, 2025, Sandra demonstrated exceptional professionalism and deep commitment to service when responding to a traffic collision between a transit bus and a civilian vehicle. Despite the complexities of the situation, she responded immediately and with compassion. She provided needed support to our driver, and I saw the pictures of that accident, and it was kind of vicious, to say the speak. Coordinated the appropriate actions and ensured a safe and efficient return to normal operations. Please join me in honoring and congratulating Sandra Fuentes as Employee of the Month.
Congratulations, and thank you for taking care of that driver and our employees and keeping our buses running. That's an awesome thing. I think anyone in here that's ever used our transit system, this is a lady to thank, right? Did you want to say anything?
Yes,
Okay.
I would like to say thank you very much for considering me. I'm really honored. And I would like to say that we operate transit, paratransit, also micro transit right now. So if anybody would like to take the time and ride, and you'll see how wonderful our city is and see our new sites.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations. Oh, wait, picture.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Madam Mayor, members of City Council, next on the agenda is item 2, public statements on appointments, special presentations, and informational reports. We have no speaker cards for this item. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3A1, appointment of Special Event Support Review Committee members. And Senior Management Analyst Heidi DiNardo is presenting this item.
Hello again. In 2014, the City Council established the Special Events Support Review Committee to evaluate applications for city support and subsequently recommend funding allocations to the City Council. The City Council purposely did not impose specific scoring criteria, but did provide the committee with the following guidelines: preference to fund events where event proceeds are used locally within Simi Valley, and preference to fund events with greater community public benefits over events with lesser community public benefits. Each year, the city receives many grant requests, yet only $25,000 is budgeted from the general fund. Therefore, it is crucial that these resources are allocated to events that have a broad and lasting impact on our community. The committee plays a pivotal role in reviewing applications and prioritizing those that align with the principle of reinvesting in our community while providing substantial benefits that enhance the quality of life for all of Simi Valley residents. The committee is composed of one member from each of the city's 4 neighborhood councils, one member from the Council on Aging, and one alternate. Each of these bodies has nominated individuals for the committee, and it is now recommended that the City Council appoint the following nominated committee members. For those of you who are in attendance this evening, please come up to the front as they call your name. Also, it should be noted that there is a typo in Mr. Bowman's last name on the staff report, if the city clerk wouldn't mind making that correction. So, representing Neighborhood Council number 1, Laura Hurd. Representing Neighborhood Council number 2, George Bowman. Representing Neighborhood Council number 3, Serena Cum. Representing Neighborhood Council number 4, Bobby Calderon. And representing the Council on Aging, Gloria Bowman. And finally, serving as our alternate from Neighborhood Council number 2, Gail Sutton. Looks
Thank
like
you.
we have the
When I
Bowmans
saw
in
the
house.
names, I went, is that Mr. Bowman or is it
Yes.
somebody else? So
Bowman's
I'm glad
representing.
she clarified it, though. Again, you guys, congratulations, and thank you for all you do for our community.
So I would be happy to move to appoint the 6 nominations to serve on the 2026 Special Event Support Review Committee. We need a second.
Yep.
Call for the vote. Will you vote yes for me, please?
The motion passes unanimously.
It's official. One more thing you're going to do for us. And we just thank you for everything. Thanks, George. Thank you. Have a great evening, too. Oh, you want to say something? Oh. So we're good. Thank you both.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3B1, informational presentation by Youth Council member Serena Kangura.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and members of the City Council. My name is Serena Kangura, and I am a freshman at Royal High School. I am honored to speak with you today as I represent our incredible Youth Council, and I am truly grateful for the tremendous amount of support that we have received from all of you. Today, I will be discussing our previous and upcoming events, as well as our new initiatives. On October 17th, the Youth Council hosted the annual Youth Summit with the theme Voices of Tomorrow, where the attendees felt empowered to address prominent issues affecting youth within our community. The event, held at the Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District, was attended by 130 students and over 30 dignitaries. The keynote speaker, Arushi Somani, a student at UCLA, guided everyone through her journey of developing an environmental education curriculum that has been implemented in K-12 schools. Her story is an inspiration to all youth, displaying the influential changes that they can make to bring their ideas to life. Students were divided into breakout groups that included AI and technology, bullying, mental health, and addiction. They should be admired for their ability to brainstorm and develop impactful solutions to each topic. These unique perspectives were taken into consideration as the Youth Council developed the work plan for the upcoming year. Students were fortunate to hear from our remarkable dignitaries who initiated engaging conversations on the topics. During the event, the Youth Council also hosted a food drive in support of Safe Passage, a nonprofit organization that provides resources to at-risk youth. With the overwhelming support, I am pleased to announce that over 100 food items were donated to the organization. The next day, the Youth Council participated in the YMCA Fall Festival Trunk or Treat event with a spectacular carnival-themed decorated trunk. Many bags of treats were distributed to the over 4,000 attendees. The Youth Council also hosted a booth at the Simi Valley Street Fair and City Expo on October 25th. Youth Council members were able to engage the public by handing out over 500 items and by having them sign the anti-bullying banner, which will be displayed at City Hall. It was a great event to share information about the Youth Council. On November 11th, the Youth Council showed immense support for our veterans by participating in the Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District Veterans Day Wellness Fair. Youth Council members hosted a booth where attendees were able to create cards with appreciative messages, which were later provided to the For the Troops organization. Veterans Day is an important time to honor and appreciate those who have served our country, and our Youth Council was proud to contribute to this celebration and engage our community in recognizing their service. On November 13th, the Youth Council, the Youth Employment Services Advisory Board, and the Simi Valley Public Library hosted the 8th Annual Volunteer Fair. Community members were able to meet with representatives from more than 20 local nonprofit organizations to learn about available volunteer opportunities. The Youth Council coordinated service projects including holiday placemats for Meals on Wheels recipients and bookmarks and bracelets for the American Cancer Society. The event was highly successful and included over 100 attendees. From November 14th to 16th, 5 youth council members attended the Friday Night Live Youth Summit in Anaheim and presented a workshop on how to host a teen wellness night. This included a PowerPoint presentation, a handout with planning tips, and a teen wellness-related activity. Upcoming events include the Metrolink Holiday Train scheduled for December 21st, where the Youth Council will organize fun holiday activities for the attendees. At the November 4th meeting, the Youth Council developed the work plan for the upcoming year. This included expanding the Teen Crisis Resource Committee to focus on providing year-round resources and support services, and renaming the Multicultural Committee to the Inclusivity Committee to broaden the focus on combating discrimination, bullying, stigma, and stereotypes, and supporting cultural appreciation. The next Youth Council meeting will take place tomorrow, November 18th, from 5 to 6 p.m. at the Simi Valley Senior Center. These meetings are open to the public, and we encourage the community to attend. To stay connected and informed, be sure to follow the Youth Council on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Simi Valley Youth Council, as well as on TikTok at SVYC2929. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight and for continuously showing support for Youth Council events and initiatives. I'm available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Serena. Councilmember Rhodes.
Hi, Serena. So thank you for the report. Once again, outstanding reports from our youth council. I didn't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you for, I got to participate in the town hall, and it was a fantastic event, and I was blown away by the conversations. You can just really, over lunch, get very real about the topics, and you pick great topics. So thank you for putting that event on.
Thank you. Yes, I also was able to attend, and my table was mental health and mental awareness. And there was some really good conversation going on amongst the youth and myself and Brooke Grayson from the Park District Board. So I thought it was a great opportunity for us to talk and for great topics for you guys to pick up. And what high school did you go to again?
I go to Royal High School.
Ooh, Highlanders forever. I do that because Mr. Judge went to Simi High, so we just we joke about that. So any other questions or comments? No? All right. Thank you very much, Serena. We really appreciate your report.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 4, public statements. During this agenda item 4, the City Council will hear public statements from the first 10 persons who have submitted speaker cards. After the first 10 persons have spoken, subsequent persons who submitted speaker cards will be called to speak during agenda item 6, which is a continuation of agenda item number 4. Agenda items 4 and 6 are the times allotted for public statements on all items other than public hearings, appointments, and informational reports. Speakers will be called on in the order in which their card was submitted to speak for this public statements item 4 for a period of no more than 3 minutes each. Persons addressing the City Council are requested to state their name and community residence for the record. Madam Mayor.
Before we begin, I'd just like to make a short statement. We've had concerns and people visiting regarding immigration. So we're aware that the immigration enforcement actions taken by the federal government have sown fear and concern in our local community and beyond. City Council supports our residents and will be posting immigration resources and contacts in English and Spanish on our website for affected individuals or a link to the county website. Additionally, we are working to coordinate a presentation that will provide information, resources, and updates to the community. We hope to have that at one of our December meetings. So we just want to let everyone know that. Thank you. Now we may begin. Oh, I'm sorry. The city manager has a statement.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, and community members, the city is aware of the homeless encampment near the Villa del Arroyo Mobile Home Park in Moore Park. Due to its location and cross-jurisdictional impacts, Supervisor Parvin's office, the Simi Valley Police Department, Ventura County Sheriff's Department, Moore Park City Manager, and I convened to discuss the best way to address it moving forward. The Simi Valley Police Department and Sheriff's Office actively monitor the site, and we offer the individuals at the site resources and regularly encourage them to relocate. As this site has continued to grow, even with frequent monitoring, the Simi Valley Police Department personnel is reviewing proposals from vendors to clear the site following the posting of appropriate notice. Once again, at that time, individuals will be offered resources as part of this effort. Staff will also be sensitive to the timeline with the upcoming holidays. We appreciate the cooperation with the Sheriff's Department on this issue as we coordinate the cleanup efforts.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, we can begin now.
Thank you. I will call 3 names at a time so you know who you follow. The first 3 speakers, Alin Eason, Anthony Eason, and James McGillis.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and City Council. I'm Alin Eason, a resident of Simi Valley. None of the council, except Mayor Kavanaugh, have ever seriously considered banning short-term rentals outright. The STR effect is changing how Americans view property ownership, community, and quality of life. Here are some statistics of a survey done in July 2025 by Anytime Estimate regarding the potential impact of STRs on neighborhoods. 1,000 Americans, including 33% who have stayed in an Airbnb and 24% who have or had one in their community, were questioned about their views on Airbnbs and other short-term rental platforms. Here are some of the results. Home buyers are thinking twice about STRs nearby. 60% of all buyers see near STRs as a negative, with 28% offering less for the property and 32% walking away entirely. 55% would rather live next door to their in-laws. 30% would rather live next door to their ex. 52% would feel less comfortable and safe letting their children play outside with an STR next door. 31% of buyers would pay more for a home in a community that bans STRs altogether. For years, real estate agents have fielded questions like, what's the school district? How's the roof? Now you can add, are there any STRs on this block? Roughly 40% of Americans believe a neighbor converting their home into an STR would decrease the quality of life for local residents, more than 4 times the number who say it would improve it, at 9%. Barely 1/3 of Americans, 36%, have positive feelings about Airbnb, Vrbo, or other STR companies, while a similar 32% say they'd be happy if the Airbnb platform shut down completely. About half of Americans would sign a petition to restrict STRs in their neighborhood, 48%, while 49% think STRs should be banned outright in residential areas. Council, please seriously consider banning all residential short-term rentals before they negatively impact Simi Valley's neighborhoods. Thank you.
Hello once again. My name is Anthony Eason. I am a 41-year resident of Simi Valley. It's almost been a year to date since the City Council first began to address the issue of residential short-term rentals. It has been very evident from the beginning that 3 of the City Council members present have never seriously considered a ban on STRs. Only Mayor Kavanaugh, who was a council person at the time, showed and continues to show support for a ban. Councilperson Ayala was not on the council at that time. The council decided to take no action for over a year now, allowing STRs to continue to operate and exist illegally in our city. They could have just as easily had the current zoning code enforced until they made a decision. That could have stopped or at least certainly hindered STRs from operating in our city, including the infamous Poltergeist House. They chose to let STRs operate illegally in Simi Valley. The council has decided to prioritize the economic benefits that STRs may provide to the city over local housing needs and community stability. At least 3 of the 4 council persons have admitted that they use short-term rentals, while none of them have been unfortunate enough to live next to one. That very fact indicates a predisposed bias in favor to legalize and perhaps regulate them. There are options to renting an STR in Simi Valley. You can stay at a motel or hotel, or stay at an STR in an adjacent city. Now, wait a minute. 3 out of 4 of our neighboring communities had the good sense to already ban them. What option does a person have that lives next to one? Sell their home and move? Yeah, council, that seems fair. Do you really care more about transients than residents? Transient occupants of an existing home converted to an SDR does not bring additional revenue to businesses operating in the city. That is a fallacy perpetuated by the Chamber of Commerce. Those are existing homes. They were not built or zoned for transient housing. Permanent or long-term residents add a constant year-long revenue to other businesses in the city. In cities that ban STRs, their city officials ran the numbers and concluded that negative impacts on residents' quality of life simply weren't worth any economic benefits that tourism might bring. From the beginning, this council has seen dollar signs on this issue and continue to dismiss residential concerns about their community standards. It's about time you seriously considered the other side and a ban on short-term rentals. Thank you.
Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the City Council and staff, known in the Acorn Letters section as the other guy, I am James McGillis, a resident of Simi Valley. Tonight I will predict some events that well may happen in our city in 2026. The 2026 city budget will include $300,000 for a ballot measure to raise the transient occupancy tax. Using new math, the city will present this as a 1% increase when in fact it is a 10% increase. The new measure may include short-term rentals, STRs, in their TOT regime. Since the city cannot legally campaign for the passage of the ordinance, the council will call in the chips from all the property investors and STR owners, targeting $200,000 for the independent campaign. Number 2, at an expense of $150,000, the city will hire an additional code enforcement officer. Facing an onslaught of complaints regarding both legalized and illegal STRs, the new code enforcement officer will depart before the end of 2026. Number 3, after a tragic accident involving a teenager riding an e-bike in traffic, the City Council will direct the Simi Valley Police Department to work with the Simi Valley Unified School District in both educational and enforcement programs at all middle schools and high schools. Number 4, an unpermitted kitchen at a local STR using a garden hose as a natural gas supply will catch fire. The fire will spread to the garage where tons of illegal fireworks will explode. The city will respond to the destruction of an entire city block by raising the fine on illegal fireworks from $100 to $125. With the approval of all STRs in the city, miscreants, firebugs, and pyromaniacs will rush to rent STRs over the July 4th weekend. When an errant skyrocket hits the brush area, another block of homes will burn. The city will respond by creating what is known as a burnout zone. When burned out residents find 0 long-term rentals available, the city will assist them in finding shelter at the ample number of short-term rentals available in the unburned areas. Number 6, and finally, the City Council will fast-track the development of a non-conforming drive-through restaurant surrounded by a non-conforming mobile home park, and also in direct contradiction to the recently approved Envision Simi Valley plan. When chicken-hungry motorists block Cochran Street across Tappa Street, traffic enforcement will reroute all motorists wishing to turn north on Tappa Street through the mobile home park and out its driveway to North Tappa. That concludes my predictions for 2026. To verify the accuracy of my predictions, I will return here in exactly 1 year and ask to receive my report card. And I hope that Acorn letter writer Lindsay Gorway will attend that night. Thank you very much.
The next 3 speakers, Sarah Wilczowski, Michael Shaw, and Suzanne Taylor.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh, City Council, and City staff. My name is Sarah Wilczewski, and I am here as part of 805 and DocuFund. I have been here before begging you to take action against ICE. And I am here once again to ask you to take action and pay attention to what we are saying. It's November 17th, and while ICE's budget ballooned at the start of October, we are still waiting on you to take decisive action to help our community. Last week, we passed over 1,000 people detained by ICE across Ventura, Santa Barbara, and SLO counties, 634 of which were from Ventura County. That's 1,000 people brutally taken simply for trying to make a better life for themselves and their families. 1,000 families separated who have to try and pick up their lives that were left behind, often without their primary breadwinner. Don't let this number become a statistic. This is 1,000 of our neighbors, family members, and friends. At this point, I don't know how else to tell you how scared people are and how desperately people want action. We are out here every day patrolling, distributing aid, giving rides to vulnerable neighbors, and doing everything we can to support our community. All without the support from those of you on the dais. Where is that immigration forum you promised us back in September, Councilmember Ayala? When will that be placed on the agenda? Solo al pueblo, salva al pueblo. If you see any ICE activity or have been impacted by them, please call or text the 805 on DocuFund hotline, 805-870-8855. You can also follow us on social media for updates on ICE activity and how we've been helping the community. If you text alerts or alert us to the hotline, you can receive alerts when we have confirmed ICE sightings. Finally, if you would like to volunteer with us, we have several volunteer trainings coming up. You can find information about those on our social media and website. We have 2 trainings coming up this week in Oxnard, and we have more in the works. City Council, we need support at every level of government. Do something to help with this crisis. You've had opportunities and are still delaying doing the bare minimum. Don't continue to be silent. Stand up for the people you represent. We will keep coming back until you do more than make statements that you will post videos and information. That's not enough. It's been 9 months since this reign of terror started, and you are just now getting information out. Do something.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. The last I spoke, I didn't wait around for comments. When discussion gets heated, I always start to kind of wig out. You guys do it a lot better than I do, handling the heat of the moment. But I want to remind everybody that you guys up there are there as a public service. And we have to keep that in mind. We have to remember that, yes, we want to try to get you to do the things we want you to do. But we still have to kind of remember, hey, thanks for being there. Thanks for coming. Okay, so now I'll get down to, it kind of seems petty when you talk about, the STRs. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to live next to it. I wouldn't want to worry, the kids can't go to school without worrying. Anyways, the City of Ventura Public Works Department has received a grant of $193,000 from the California Office of Public Transportation for bicycles and pedestrian safety program. And that got me thinking, well, did we apply for that grant? If we didn't, why not? I'd like to hear how that how do we keep track of all these grants? But I'd really, really like to know, do we have a pedestrian and bicycle safety program? I don't think so. But so there's $193,000 that maybe we could go get and think about it. Just last week, I see the Office of Traffic Safety awards a $170,000 grant to Simi Valley Police Department for traffic enforcement program to increase safety on the road. Community presentations on traffic safety issues such as distracted driving, speeding, bicycle and pedestrian safety, as well as e-bike and e-devices awareness. Boy, it sounds pretty good. So what I'd like to do there is, if I may, I'd like to know where to ask to see that grant application, because I'd like to see where that money's going to go to. And real quick, last but not least, on November 4th, we took a tour of Santa Susana Field Laboratory. And they told us that the toxic, nasty stuff from up there is going to go over to the landfill. And you got to be kidding me. If it's so bad to be up there, then why are we putting it in the landfill? That doesn't make sense. Is that true or not? I hope it's not true. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh, council members, and city manager. I'm Suzanne Taylor, Executive Director of Augusta Communities, a housing nonprofit that owns Villa del Arroyo Mobile Home Park, located at 15750 Arroyo Drive in Moore Park, just beyond your city's western boundary. I am here with a group of homeowner staff members and council member Renee Delgado to address the illegal encampment along the Arroyo Simi and Simi Valley. Some of the encampment is located on the property owned by the Simi Valley Water and Sanitation District. As shown in the photos we provided to the city clerk, who shared them with you earlier, people have built semi-permanent structures, are using fire for cooking and warmth, and have left trash and debris scattered throughout this environmentally sensitive area of the Arroyo Simi. It is estimated that well over 150 people live there. Incident data we received from the city of Simi Valley confirms an average of about 5 calls for service per month, even without routine patrols in the area. Many of these calls involve welfare checks or outreach, but the volume clearly indicates a persistent strain on public safety. Ventura County reports 53 contacts in the area for narcotics warrants and probation violations, reinforcing the seriousness of this issue. Villa del Arroyo, the encampment, and surrounding areas are all situated in a very high fire hazard severity zone. A fire starting in this area could spread through our community at lightning speed, similar to the intense fires that destroyed the Paradise and Pacific Palisades mobile home parks. Recovery from a fire that damages utilities, infrastructure, and up to 241 homes would be arduous, to say the least, especially with rising costs and shrinking availability of fire insurance in this red zone area. It would take years for our nonprofit to raise the funds needed to repair the common areas and infrastructure, and many families would likely be unable to return and rebuild. We would have lost a lot of affordable housing. We don't understand how this encampment was permitted to exist for so very many years, but we appreciate the work that Moore Park spearheaded over the past weeks to begin clearing the site, and thank you for your participation. This effort must remain a multi-jurisdictional priority. We urge the city to fully restore the site and the Arroyo Simi to their natural state and implement long-term measures to prevent reoccupation. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers, Linda Bosley, Frank Bonelli, and John Smith.
Hello, I'm Linda Bosley, and I've been a resident of Villa del Arroyo in Moore Park for 7 years. Villa del Arroyo is a vibrant, all-ages mobile home park with a strong sense of community that exemplifies the small-town atmosphere of Moore Park. 580 residents call Villa del Arroyo home. We have many young families with children experiencing their first home buying experience. Their neighbors are seniors, retired professionals, veterans, disabled individuals, business owners, hardworking adults, and second-generation residents. 90% of Villa del Arroyo residents are low and moderate income. The Easy Fire of 2019 created an indelible memory for our community. For me personally, waking up to the emergency alert on my phone triggered me to pack up my personal belongings and important papers and load them in my car. As I fled Villa del Arroyo, I could see the 50-mile-an-hour wind pushing the flames toward our homes. I knew in my heart that I might not have a home to come back to. Luckily, the wind shifted and the fire raced over the hill to Tierra Rajada Road and then up to the Reagan Library. Although we cannot predict another fire, we know when there is a Santa Ana wind event, fire is a real threat to our homes. The use of cigarettes, open flames in fire pits, barbecue grills, and camping stoves, the storage of gasoline and propane by individuals living in the homeless encampment near Villa del Arroyo is a constant reminder to our residents that the odds of another fire in a high wind event are real and a constant threat to our homes and our lives. Since November 5th, 2025, police and county workers have staged at the edge of the homeless encampment offering services. Villa del Arroyo residents are hopeful that the cities of Simi Valley and Moore Park, in conjunction with Ventura County, have a plan to remove the homeless encampment from the city of Simi Valley's parcel and the private property. Further, that once the encampment is cleared, the local and county municipalities will keep the Arroyo areas to the east, west, and south of Villa del Arroyo Mobile Home Park free of encampments. At this point, I would like to introduce the residents of Villa del Arroyo Mobile Home Park. Will residents please stand? These are the peoples whose homes are in danger. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And one of those people that stood, I've known for 55 years, my friend Monica. So the next speaker is Frank.
Hello, my name is Frank Bonelli, and I currently live in Moore Park, but lived in Simi Valley for over 30 years. I would first like to thank the Ventura Sheriff's Department and the Ventura Fire Department for their continued support. Also, the mayor of Moore Park, who went into the encampment and assessed the situation. He was very concerned about the conditions and called it terrifying. The amount of folks living in the encampment at that time was approximately 200 people. Prior to the Moore Park City Council meeting, I went to the Simi Valley Police Department, and I was told that they knew of the encampment. Their estimate was approximately 60 people were currently living there. Seems it has been convenient to knowingly allow them to camp out there away from the city of Simi Valley, very much out of sight, out of mind. That is no longer going to work for the residents of Villa del Arroyo Park nor the adjacent businesses. It is now out of control. We understand the people living in the encampment have been offered help in the form of medical attention, housing, and other social services. The reality of the matter is many of them have chosen to continue to do their drugs, stealing, coming into our park at night, and threatening our safety. Residents of our park have witnessed individuals from the encampment walking into the park naked and performing unspeakable acts. You must realize people on drugs, especially those using needles, will do things that you and I could never think of or imagine. This cannot and will not be tolerated, as we refuse to live in fear. Villa del Arroyo Park has always been a beautiful, peaceful, safe place to live. Also, make note of the shoes hanging from the power line over the street adjacent to the encampment, which is, for those not aware, commonly known as a marker for drug sales and gang turf territory. We are requesting the shoes be removed from the power line as soon as possible. We are here tonight urging the City Council to provide the Simi Valley Police Department with the necessary resources and authority to remove the encampment safely and lawfully. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, and thank you for listening to our concerns as your neighbors. My name is John Smith, and I'm a concerned resident. I'm here to ask the council to take immediate and consistent action to enforce the laws we already have regarding homeless encampments in your city. Let me be clear, this is not about lacking compassion. We support the programs that offer rehabilitation, shelter, and assistance to those who truly want help. But compassion must be balanced with responsibility and accountability. When encampments are allowed to grow unchecked, it endangers everyone, residents, children, business owners, and yes, even the homeless individuals themselves. Encampments create serious public health and safety hazard. Trash, human waste, and drug paraphernalia, as well as fire risk, have become all too common. Families no longer feel safe. Local businesses suffer as customers avoid places that appear unsafe and unsanitary. These are not abstract issues. They affect our daily quality of life and the sense of security that defines our community. California courts have made enforcement challenging but not impossible. The law still allows cities to enforce reasonable regulations when shelter options are available and when public safety is at risk. Other communities have taken proactive, lawful steps to keep their streets clean and safe. So can we. We are not asking for new ordinances. We are asking for you to enforce the laws already on the books. Laws that protect public property, prohibit camping in unsafe areas, maintain health and sanitation standards. Enforcement needs to send a clear message. Simi is a compassionate city, but it is also a city of order, safety, and civic pride. I urge this council to direct our law enforcement and city departments to take immediate and consistent action to clear unlawful encampments, connect those in need with available service, and restore our public spaces. We cannot continue to look the other way while conditions deteriorate. Every day we delay, the problem grows harder and more expensive to fix. Let's protect our communities, its safety, and its future by enforcing the laws we already have. Fairly, firmly, and without apology. The time for hesitation is over. The time for continued enforcement is now. Thank you.
The 10th speaker is Renee Delgado. We're going to continue with the remainder of the card. So we have three. I'll call the next two is Richard Kipps and Heather Moss. Will follow. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council Member, and City staff. I'm Renee Delgado, Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Moore Park and representative of District 1, which includes the Villa del Arroyo Mobile Home Park. I'm here tonight on behalf of those residents, many of whom are here tonight, all of whom deserve to feel safe in their community. For several years now, these residents have watched a growing encampment of unhoused people develop adjacent to their homes. An encampment that, as I understand it, began forming after the 2019 Easy Fire. What started small has now become a persistent and serious concern, affecting not just one neighborhood, but two cities. In March, our police chief Odenath and city manager received an email from the manager of the mobile home park. She was frustrated, and rightfully so. She detailed repeated emails she had sent over several months to Simi Valley staff, representative, including council members, and the Simi Valley Police Department. Emails that went completely unanswered. No updates, no coordination, no acknowledgement, and for our residents, that silence is unacceptable. The concerns she raised, along with the community members here in the room, are significant and urgent. Fire danger, which remains the #1 fear for these residents. They have witnessed open flames being used throughout the encampment, everything from campfires to makeshift cooking setups. With fire season fast approaching, this is a disaster waiting to happen. Human health and environmental risks, including human waste entering the arroyo. Loose dogs creating fear and safety hazards. And crime, including theft of personal property in the park, which has already directly impacted these residents. In response, Moore Park officials acted swiftly. Chief Odenath and Fire Chief Ochipenti, city staff, and 2 members of the Homeless Liaison Unit attended a community meeting with over 150 Villa del Arroyo residents. Our team, including Mayor Enegren, walked the encampment, evaluated conditions firsthand, and conducted a full assessment. It was only after Moore Park became involved that we finally heard from Simi Valley about the plans for a clearance operation. While we appreciate that movement, it should not have required us stepping in before we heard from you. Here is my ask. What we need from Simi Valley is ongoing responsibility for this location, weekly monitoring to ensure the encampment does not reform, consistent outreach, not a one-time sweep, regular service engagement so individuals are not simply displaced without support, clear ongoing communication with Moore Park so our residents aren't left without answers again. I recognize this is a unique situation, an issue that originates in Simi Valley but deeply impacts Moore Park residents. But that geographic reality also means that Simi Valley must take the lead. We remain ready to collaborate. We have already demonstrated that. But Moore Park cannot indefinitely devote its resources to solving what is fundamentally a Simi Valley issue. We are asking for partnership, accountability, and consistency. That is what our residents deserve, and that is what the situation requires. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Yes, thank you all for your time. My name is Richard Kippis, and I am a homeowner in the Villa del Arroyo community. I had a moment to speak with one of the illegal campers about 7 days ago, and she informed me that, yeah, it looks like they've been given 10 days to clear out the camp. Now, I couldn't confirm that with her, nor have I been able to confirm it with anybody else, but if in fact that is going to happen, that's just like 3 days away. I mean, fantastic. That's the goal. Because when fires are involved, they come from nature, they come from accidents like power lines falling, that kind of thing, and they also come from human aspects of what can create these fires. Well, if we can take the human aspect out of the potential for fire raging through our Villa del Arroyo community, we're going to reduce the potential for fire to just about down to zero. And right now, many of us have had our insurance jump by a large amount across the board, those of us that can't afford it. There's some that I'm sure are not insured at all. Somewhere between, I think it's $50 million to maybe $100 million in property, the homes that are there, personal effects, vehicles, and such. And I don't think the city of Simi Valley wants to get wrapped up with any litigation. This has been known for 2 years or better, longer, that's been going on, that the potential for a raging fire has been there. Malibu Mobile Home Park was just razed, just totally gone. These mobile homes can go really fast. We're asking that not much point in having laws if they're not enforced. And it's not much point of having a prosecuting attorney or judges that will not help our law enforcement doing their very best to try to keep us safe in our community. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Heather Moss, a longtime resident and business member of Simi Valley. I'm here again regarding short-term residential rentals. Previously, I addressed neighborhood impacts, zoning violations, safety gaps, and why the city can and should ban or regulate STRs. Tonight, I want to focus on a critical issue that leaves the city exposed and vulnerable: the legal and financial liability created by unregulated STRs. There is a clear liability gap between commercial lodging and STRs. Hotels are built, zoned, inspected, and insured to host transient guests and are legally responsible for their entire premises under the innkeeper's duty of care, including parking lots, walkways, lighting, and exterior grounds. STRs are different. Houses and ADUs operating as de facto hotels are adjacent to public sidewalks, streets, and easements. STR lodgers rely on these public areas for access, and any injury, property damage, or other incident on that public property places liability on our city. STR host insurance covers only their property. Airbnb's coverage does not extend to public sidewalks, streets, or easements. Meanwhile, STRs turn residential streets into constant thoroughfares, increasing exposure and risk of costly lawsuits against our city. STRs provide no financial benefit to offset that risk. Hotels fund their own infrastructure, safety requirements, and premise liability coverage, and their guests pay transient occupancy tax. STRs, by contrast, impose significant burdens with no compensation to the city, remove homes from the long-term rental market, and unfairly undercut licensed lodging. Even if TOT were applied to STRs, enforcement costs and liability exposure would likely exceed any revenue. The longer STRs remain unregulated, the more eminent liability the city shoulders for private commercial activity. I want to address the claim that the city received only 2 STR complaints last year. Many calls about loud parties or neighborhood disruption would not be identified as STR related, since most operate without licenses and neighbors don't know a property is even an STR. Accurate data may be elusive, but STRs compromise our community. The city must either ban STRs or adopt enforceable regulations now. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak again on this issue.
The next 3 speakers, Anthony Thompson, Ed Fernandez, and Douglas Lipsky.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Anthony Thompson. I'm a resident business owner and a candidate for District 1 council position. I'd like to begin with a simple but critical question. What will Simi Valley be when we grow up? What's our moonshot? What do we want to be? In other words, what do we want to be as we mature as a city? Because I'm not convinced that that has been defined yet. Last week, I was able to attend a budget meeting hosted by the city. Very informative, by the way. But budgets aren't just about dollars and saved dollars or dollars spent. Budgets reflect priorities, values, and vision. My desire is we wait until our future state strategy is vetted and agreed upon before any strategic projects are funded. We must be fiscally responsible and not spend a dollar without it aligning with our future state development strategy. I want to be clear. I trust the process of creating a balanced budget under Samantha's proven leadership. The ability to command a balanced budget shows she has been a great steward of our community's finances. There used to be a tri-agency meeting where the city, the park district, and the school board would meet and get alignment on objectives. This meeting hasn't happened since 2022. There's been a new mayor, new school superintendent, and new park district leadership. You see, if this was culture and a process driven, it wouldn't matter who would be leading these agencies, it would be sustained. When a family looks to relocate to Simi, they wouldn't know about crime, parks, school ratings, and job opportunities. With the tri-agency, we can answer that question on a united front and provide family clarity. It's imperative that we relaunch this meeting and meet regularly. So what is our moonshot? Do we want Simi Valley to become a beacon for entertainment, an automatic first choice for film shoots and live events? Do we want to become a sports hub, home to tournaments, training facilities, and competition that brings visitors and revenue into our community? Do we want to leverage our open space, our safety, and our hometown feel to be a premier tourism and recreation destination? Simi shouldn't wait for opportunity, we should define it. Our moonshot, our breakthrough should be bold and unmistakable. The premier female destination and location of Scouts, the face of tourism in the region, an epicenter for sports and entertainment in Ventura County. Everyone needs to know Simi Valley is open for business. Let's build the Simi Valley our residents deserve. Let's choose our moonshot and let's launch it together. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ed Fernandez. I live in Simi Valley. I was born here, raised here. The only time I didn't live here was when I was in the Marine Corps for 4.5 years. Since I've come back to Simi Valley a couple years ago, the homeless problem, I mean, we all know it's a problem. A lot of people don't want to call it that, but it is. It's gotten exponentially worse, and we all know it, but we're unwilling to do anything about it. Last week, I went down to the encampment off of Easy Street on the west side, and I got a first-hand account because I've heard a lot about it, but never looked at it. I saw needles, I saw pipes, I saw temporary shelter, I saw a treehouse. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that kind of that probably violates some kind of code, but I don't have it pulled up. We all know that they're committing crimes. However, we don't do anything about it. I believe that a community is defined by its behaviors and the behaviors it allows. If we continue to allow this to happen, it will just get worse. If we just move them, they're going to move, and they'll set up another one. At what point do we realize that this is criminal behavior of drugs, prostitution, just criminal vagrancy? It's a danger to the Villa del Arroyo. It's a danger to Simi Valley as a whole. I think it's bad for the soul of a community to allow these people to just live in a vagrant state in unsanitary conditions. One, it's not good for them. It's not compassionate to let these people live like this. We need to help them, and we need to help our communities. That's kind of really all I've got. I've never really spoken anything like this before. I would like to leave you guys with a quote from Adam Smith, a Scottish economist from the 18th century. He says that mercy to the innocent is cruelty to the guilty. Thank you, guys.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. You guys know me, Douglas Lipsky. I've had two problems here. The cleanup of Simi Valley and the 118 freeway. Both have not been cleaned up in 10 years. I came here 6 months ago. No one has done a darn thing. When am I going to get my answers? I'm tired of waiting. Please get something done. I'm tired of looking at our 118 freeway. We have not done a darn thing in 10 years. The middle of the freeway looks like a junkyard. When are we going to do something? When? When am I going to get my answers? Last week I couldn't answer a question. I don't understand why. Why can't I ask a question? Will someone tell me tonight? I guess not. Not right. I came here last week. I wanted it on the agenda tonight. I didn't get that. Not good. This city deserves answers. We're not getting them. Why? Because we don't got the right council. We need to get changes. Next November, I hope we do, because this city needs them.
We'll have two speakers, Jamie Sanchez and Jose Marquez.
Before I begin, I want to acknowledge that we are gathered on land originally stored by the Chumash people. Their history, resilience, and continued presence deserve more than once a year recognition. True acknowledgement means respect, consistency, and visibility, not convenience. Good evening. My name is Jamie Sanchez. I'm here once again because our community keeps asking for action, and too often we're met with delay or silence. I do want to acknowledge the announcement made by the mayor that the ICE issue will finally be placed on the December calendar with a full presentation. That is a step, but it can't be the end of the conversation. And I want to make something very clear. A private meeting with the city manager and the mayor doesn't help this community. This issue demands transparency, public accountability, and the involvement of the people who have been showing up, speaking out, and protecting this community long before this presentation was scheduled. So I have one very direct question. When you do this presentation, will you actually involve the people who have already been involved in protecting our community, the organizers, the activists, the residents who have come here meeting after meeting, where their voices will be included? Or will the city try to speak for us instead of with us? We also continue to lack consistent recognition of Indigenous people. And I want to be very clear again, it's not just about recognizing a day or a month, it's about recognizing the Chumash people consistently. And that doesn't happen in the city. It doesn't happen anywhere, really. The Chumash are not a symbolic gesture. Their presence and history deserves regular acknowledgement. And if this city can plan fireworks, concerts, and holiday events, then it can commit to honoring the original stewards of this land with consistency and respect. And then there's community outreach. The Veterans Day ceremony at Lemon Park was beautiful, heartfelt, and deeply meaningful. But imagine a parade, something that brings families together, honors service, and strengthens unity. Right now, the city seems to prioritize entertainment over meaningful connection. A fireworks show lasts minutes. Community outreach lasts generations. So tonight, I'm asking the City Council not just to hear us, but act with purpose. Ensure the December ICE presentation is transparent, thorough, and includes the voices of those already protecting the community. Recognize the Chumash people consistently, not selectively. Invest in real community building instead of distractions. Because Simi Valley doesn't need more closed doors conversations. We need leadership, we need courage, and we need a council that shows, not just tells us, that it's willing to listen and act. Thank you for your time.
Jose Marquez.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What I'd like to talk about really is the VDA or Villa del Arroyo problem, but how it really is going to hit your pocketbook if we're not there any longer. Excuse me. In my checking with neighbors, etc., and I completely keep a budget on a spreadsheet, I spent the last week and a half going through my receipts for the last 3 months in regards to how much tax went through your city from Moore Park residents and via DA. All that said, I spent close to $500, which I feel, after you deduct the state and the county and all that, went to the city of Simi Valley. Now imagine if 250 some odd homes are gone because of the fire. How's that going to hurt you? You asked me that question, I tell you, very simply, I'll be moving to Northern California because I will not be able to live here any longer. Thank you very much.
Madam Madam Mayor, that was the last speaker. Next item on the agenda is item 4A, City Council comments regarding public statements.
Do I have anyone wishing to speak or make comments? Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you. Yes, comments. First, Mr. and Mrs. Eason, Mr. McGillis. I believe city manager STRs will be on the agenda coming up for final vote sometime soon.
I met with staff this afternoon and have encouraged them to plan for the December 15th meeting for a discussion on an ordinance.
So I just wanted to let you guys know, because I know you've been coming every meeting, and we listen to you, and I know that it's important that you're here during that meeting. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Mr. Shaw's comment about the waste management and Boeing, I believe we put out a letter, but I don't know if we posted it anywhere. Can we give a quick update on that?
So Waste Management has indicated and actually notified Boeing that they will not be taking any of the hazardous waste from the site. They are unable to take hazardous waste as what their permits provide for them. They have also indicated that they will not be taking any cleaned up dirt either from the cleanup. So the statements that were made at that meeting might have been a little premature on Boeing's part.
Thank you for that. And for those that are leaving, just know that we thank you for coming and for your comments about that. What I appreciated about all of the comments were, it wasn't that you were not being not compassionate towards people who are unhoused, but it really became a safety issue. And it's a safety issue, not just, as you were saying, not just for you living in your homes, but also for those in the encampment. If there were to be a fire, it's affecting everyone, not just you, right? And so it's important that we all work together to find a resolution that is going to be an ongoing solution. I always find it useful for myself to see things firsthand, so I will make it a point to go there and actually look at it myself, because I think that's important to do so. So I will be doing that too. And then Ms. Sanchez, Mr. Shaw, do you think Ms. Sanchez, you might want to talk to her, but she had an idea? Can you connect with her after the meeting? That might be a good connection there. Thanks everyone for your comments today.
Councilmember Litzter.
Thank you. I was going to share with the residents that I was actually part of the point in time count that went out. I'm sorry, it's fine. I'm not saying you're welcome to leave, but I just wanted to share with you that after I read the article in the Acorn and saw the more recent developments, I wanted to share that I actually called Officer Hulte, who he and I went in the point in time, homeless point in time count. And so I went to the Arroyo and went through and met many of the residents, saw the circumstances, saw what our Simi Valley Police does in terms of enforcement and trying to keep that safe and help those people who are there move on. I wanted to share a few things. In fact, I even called him today because I wanted his perspective, because I know he actively works there. The first thing I wanted to share, the fire concern is absolutely legitimate. And what I observed is that if he saw any sign that there was fire, he immediately told them, if I see that, basically threatened that would be grounds for arrest, that it is that critical that there can be no fire of any kind there. So I just want you to know that, keep in mind, this was back in February. I recognize things have gone since then, but it was interesting to witness that they were very aware that that is the one absolute line in the sand, that there cannot be any sign of fire. Obviously, I'm not saying you're not seeing fires. That absolutely is something that has to be immediately rectified. What I learned as well in conversation with him, they are actively trying, he's always offering services, but he shared the level of activity of trying to move people out, including how many times recently, backpack medicine, Mercy House shelters, et cetera, all the things, offering all the services so that they can go elsewhere. He's honest, they are not all willing to take that assistance, but I just want you to know they're actively doing that, and yes, the notification will be gone very short, if it hasn't already done so, that they will be moved. They're also, the city is actively getting solicitations for a company to literally collect all the debris or collect all and so that is actively in process. And so I want to be aware that certainly you're heard, but there's a process that's taking place as we speak. Simi Valley absolutely cares about our neighbors, absolutely cares about you. And yes, we recognize that every human has a right right to be helped in ways that we can, but certainly they don't have a right to cause harm to others, period. And we recognize that, and I just want to be very clear that Simi Valley is taking actions. Appreciate your being here, but just wanted you to be aware that they are actively doing this, and I'm sure things will change. When I asked him in terms of numbers, I said, has it swollen since I was out there? Because I saw, like I went, I can't tell you the different places we went. And I asked him, in his professional opinion, the numbers have grown, not nearly the numbers that some are saying, but yes, there is growth and it's not okay. And so, anyway, I just want to be clear that things are being done. And I certainly heard Mayor Pro Tem with the desire that there be ongoing monitoring, that obviously once you get back to a safe position, there needs to be a way that it stays in that way. Now, I'm sure that the Arroyo, which is beautiful, will always attract people desires to be there, but it takes us working together with Moore Park, et cetera, to keep it safe, clean, and healthy for all the residents. So I just wanted to share that, and I'm sorry I'm stopping you from leaving, but just wanted you to be aware of that. So, thank you. And actually, Michael Shaw, I was going to read the letter from WM, but we can talk later about it. So, thank you. That concludes my.
Thank you. Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In order of appearance tonight on the short-term rentals, if you are disappointed that you did not see an ordinance being presented in draft form to us tonight, I share your disappointment. I think it was clear to me that this is an expectation for this meeting, and yet we didn't have it. So we had a discussion internally on where that disconnect was, and that's why I can say with some level of certainty that we are going to see that ordinance brought forward to us. It is my expectation to have that, and we are going to be discussing that a lot over the next couple of weeks. For our guests who came regarding the Arroyo, I would echo what my fellow council members have said. I do want to add something, however, to the esteemed Mayor Pro Tem, who we work well together. I would consider us friends. I think your characterization of Simi's participation in this was unnecessary and inaccurate, both. I think that we know of the issue. We outreach and deal with the issue. Can we be better? Yes. Has it grown? I, again, go back to the point-in-time count where we had 0 increase year over year on our point-in-time count, and I believe Moore Park showed 0 or close to 0. So obviously there's a disconnect there on where our homeless population is living and what our roles and responsibilities are. But if we are going to work together, a collegiate attitude and conversation is better than calling us out from the dais. And maybe you and I need to have a conversation about that in the future. But your point is well made. It needs to get dealt with, it needs to get done, and we need to have collaboration. Let's see. In terms of the tax impact and the sensitivities to the residents of that community, we got you. We are on the same page. We want to get this problem solved as well. And so I am confident that conversations are already ongoing. Well, actually, I'm not confident. I know conversations are ongoing because we got a brief, and that they will continue. And so I guess stay tuned on that. But we hear you, and it's as important to us. Even if you're technically over a line into Moore Park, we're all one big community. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Delgado, for being here and for letting me know you were going to be here, and I'll see you Thursday morning. We have a meeting together. For all of you in Vista del Arroyo, I actually lived there a long time ago with my brother-in-law when he bought a mobile home there. I rented a room from him, and it's a beautiful community, and it's a great location for it. You're kind of your own little quiet little entity right there, except for the train. I think it's just the train, right? But no, we really seriously need to take care of that. Monica has already, she told me a few months ago that, hey, we need to get rid of this. It's growing, it's unsafe, it's unsanitary, and I know the city manager is already working on it. We've had a couple of discussions with it. So working together with the county and the city of Moorpark and the city of Simi Valley, it will get taken care of. A little bit of patience. You want to give some details?
No, I want to reiterate what I said earlier. Our police department is actively seeking and reviewing proposals from vendors that do these encampment cleanups. And as mentioned today, there are a number of different types of debris that have to be cleaned up. And so there's hazardous material and things like that. So there are specific vendors that we have to utilize for that. So we are evaluating proposals. We also want to ensure that we're sensitive to the holiday timeline and such as well. I don't believe that the site has been noticed yet. Yeah, Johnson's shaking his head no. So until we actually have that vendor in place, we will not be noticing the site. But we do provide appropriate notice so those individuals that have somewhere else to go would be able to do that. We'll also be providing the resources as we have been providing for various services and such throughout the county to hopefully ensure that these people have somewhere to go. So this is actively in process, and hopefully we'll be able to get this taken care of in the very near future.
Thank you, City Manager. And Renee, we'll work together also and make sure that this gets done. Again, we don't have an exact timeline yet, but I know the sooner the better for everybody, so we'll do our best. So, we want to be good sister cities to Moorpark. I always consider Moorpark our little sister, because we grew a little bit, and then you guys are growing, and now you have beautiful homes up in the hills, and it's a great community, and we want to make sure we keep good communications between both cities. So thank you for that, and I think that's all for this evening, so thank you. All right, thank you for those that are leaving. We need to continue our meeting, so appreciate it. Thanks, Monica. Yes, thank you. We can move forward now. Madam Clerk?
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is public hearings. This is the time for testimony on public hearings on the consideration of matters as presented on this agenda. Let the record show that due notice was given as required by law, and an affidavit to this effect is on file in the office of the City Clerk. All comments submitted by email have already been provided to the City Council and will be made part of the record. However, they will not be read by the City Clerk this evening. Speakers will be called on in the order in which a card was submitted to speak for this public testimony item 5 for a period of no more than 5 minutes each. Persons addressing the City Council are requested to state their name and community residence for the record. Comments shall be limited to matters relevant to the item on the agenda and may be ruled out of order if comments are unrelated to the item. The reports of city staff relating to these matters shall be made part of the record of this meeting. If you challenge in court any of the City Council decisions made here tonight, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at this public hearing. The time within which judicial review must be sought is governed by California Code of Civil Procedure, Section 1094.6. The first item is item 5A, a public hearing, and second reading of ordinance number 1366 to consider amendments to the Simi Valley Municipal Code, Title 8, Building Regulations, adopting the 2025 California Building Standards Code by reference and determination that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. The reading of the ordinance is as follows. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley amending Title 8 of the Simi Valley Municipal Code, adopting by reference the codes that comprise Title 24 of the California Code of Regulations, and specifically the 2025 edition of the California Building Code, the 2025 edition of the California Residential Code, the 2025 edition of the California Electrical Code, the 2025 edition of the California Mechanical Code, the 2025 edition of the California Plumbing Code, the 2025 edition of the California Energy Code, the 2025 edition of the California Green Building Standards Code, the 2025 edition of the California Historical Building Code, the 2025 edition of the California Existing Building Code, the 2025 edition of the California Reference Standard Code, the 2024 International Property Maintenance Code, and the 2025 edition of the California Wildland Urban Interface Code. Environmental Services Director Stratis Perros is here to present this item.
Before we begin, are there any ex parte communications to report? Seeing none, we can move forward. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh. On November 3rd, the City Council introduced ordinance number 1366 for first reading and scheduled a second reading and public hearing for tonight. Tonight's proposed ordinance amends Title 8, adopting by reference the 2025 edition of the California Building Codes as required by the state. Title 8 adopted by reference the excuse me. Title 8 of the Simi Valley Municipal Code and the California Building Codes establish the primary basis of authority under which the Building and Safety Division regulates building construction in the city of Simi Valley. The purpose of the code and this proposed ordinance is to safeguard public health and safety through the implementation of minimum building standards for structural and life safety in the design, construction, and maintenance of buildings, structures, and related equipment. It is recommended that the City Council adopt, at the conclusion of the public hearing, ordinance number 1366 to amend Title 8 relating to the building regulations of the Simi Valley Municipal Code.
Are there any questions of staff from City Council members? Councilmember Litster.
Thank you. Mr. Paris, appreciate understanding why we're doing this. It's a bit perfunctory. In the report, it explained that AB 130, basically, that there's the adoption of a moratorium on new local building standards until 2031. I just was curious if you could explain that legislation, and I have heard that there just have been so many iterations of the building code, it's hard almost for builders to keep up with the new code. But I take it we're passing this, or I'm assuming that there'll be a discussion and we may pass this evening. But can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't. Our building official isn't present here tonight, but we can get back to you with that.
That's all right. It was just a curiosity as I read that. Yeah, well, it was just the paragraph in the report says that this proposed ordinance only amends the specific code adopting section, does not include the existing local standards that were previously approved by the City Council, filed with the state, et cetera. This change in the adoption process is due to the passage of California Assembly Bill 130 in 2025. And AB 130 created a moratorium on new local building code standards adopted after September 30th, 2025. And it's going to be in place through June of 2031. So that is just that paragraph. I was curious to see if you had any understanding of the history of why.
What I can do is, after the conclusion of tonight's meeting, I'll research it and I'll get it back.
Not a problem. And it doesn't change the need for this in any way. It was a curiosity. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions of staff? All right, at this time, I would like to open the hearing for anyone in the City Council chambers wishing to be heard on this matter.
Madam Mayor, we have no speaker cards for this item this evening.
Thank you. Are there any further comments or questions from City Council members? Councilmember Judge?
The conclusion of the public hearing, ordinance number 1366 to amend Title 8 relating to the building relations of the Simi Valley, building regulations of the Simi Valley Municipal Code.
Second.
Okay, this hearing is now closed. We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Mayor, the next public hearing, item 5B, a public hearing to approve the water rate study and capacity fee update calendar years 2026 to 2030, make findings pursuant to Proposition 218, and consider adoption of a resolution establishing water service rates commencing in 2026. The reading of the resolution is as follows. Resolution number WWD-300, a resolution of the Board of Directors of Ventura County Waterworks District Number 8, establishing water service rates and repealing Resolution number WWD-276. Public Works Director Ron Fuchiwaki, Assistant Public Works Director Chris Oberender, and Principal Engineer Mitchell Kada are here to present this item.
Before we begin, are there any ex parte communications to report? Seeing none, we may start. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Kavanaugh and board members of Waterworks District Number 8. Tonight, we are requesting that the City Council, the Board of Directors, approve the recommendations in the staff report to increase water rates over the next 5 calendar years, starting on January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2030. Waterworks Services is a self-supporting enterprise fund funded by user fees that provides for the daily operation and maintenance of the water distribution system, including capital projects to repair, rehabilitate, or replace water tanks, pump stations, and water lines. On August 4th and September 8th, staff presented the City Council with reports to consider increasing water rates and fees. The proposed rate increase for the next 5 years is an average of 3.5% each year. At the September 8th meeting, the City Council authorized staff to proceed with the Proposition 218 public notification and protest process and set this evening, November 17th, for the public hearing to consider the proposed water rates and fees. Almost 29,000 notices and protest ballots were mailed to property owners, and as of this morning, 816 protests were received. This is less than 3%. Staff conducted several public outreach presentations to inform the public of the need to increase water rates. Presentations were made to the 4 neighborhood councils and the Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Committee. A general public meeting was also held at City Hall for the public to ask questions regarding the rates. However, no members of the public attended. The proposed water rates were also posted on the city's website and Simi Valley Television, and information was made available in the city's monthly community newsletter. Staff requests that the City Council approve the water rate study and capacity fee update report, make findings pursuant to Proposition 218, and consider adoption of a resolution establishing water service rates commencing in 2026. That concludes our report. We're available for questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff from City Council? Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you. It's with the increase, let's say in year 1, what's the additional amount of money that you would bring in year 1 with a 3.5% increase?
The additional?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, with regards to the rate study, the revenue coming in the first year of the increase, 2026, is, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
So if I'm looking at
Total,
go ahead.
The total revenue for 26-27, 62 million plus change.
Which is, yes, but how much of that is the actual increase? Do you know?
Well, let me see. Well, not only is there the 3.5%, but there is an inflation factor and a growth factor involved.
Mm-hmm.
I'll present it in this manner. In FY 24-25, the total revenue is $53.2 million. 25-26, it's $56.8 million. 26-27 is
Yep.
$62 million.
Great. So the reason I brought that up is it's because when we first started, as you know, during the first reading, I was the only one who did not vote to increase the water rates.
Yes.
And when I'm looking at this, it's not because I understand that we have things that we have to pay for over the next 5 years. But what I would like the council to consider is that just the way that we fund year one. And the reason for that is that there's 3 emergency reserves for this enterprise fund: operating reserves, capital reserve, and rate stabilization. And even after those are fully funded, there's still a surplus beyond that. And so for me, because again, I'm not saying we take from reserves, the reserves are fully there. I think that for year one, we can use the surplus reserve, a very small amount. It would still just be a very small amount. It would still leave not only the surplus funds, the reserve funds fully funded, but there would still be cash, millions of cash on hand. And I just think that for 2 factors. Number one, I don't think the economy is at the place for people to take an increase in year 2026. And the second thing is the surplus funds that are sitting there are taxes or fees that the community members have already paid. So in essence, that is the money they've already put into the system anyway. So they would already that money would be their money that they would be paying. Is that right?
Correct.
And so for me, it's kind of like they've already paid in advance for year one. So my proposal would be that we hold off implementing the 3.5% until 2027. And in 2026, we use the excess fund, a small piece of it, to be able to make up the difference for 2026. I don't know if the council, if anyone would be on board with that, but I thought I would at least throw that out there. Again, all of the reserves are fully funded, even if we do this, and even with that small amount that we would raise in 2026, it would still leave millions of dollars cash in hand if we needed above and beyond that. Yes. So all of that is, where am I wrong with that?
In terms of the first year, you're correct. We do have I believe it's an estimated $14.1 million surplus. However, over the first 4 years of the 5-year period, our cash on hand reserve actually goes down. And in the 5th year, it finally comes back to almost a equal revenue and expenditure situation. Under a 1-year delay, it's anticipated or it's estimated that that cash on hand reserve would actually be in the negative at the end of 5 years. That would be our only point, is that we may look strong in the first year, but in order to maintain, you may want to call it reasonable or may not, a level 3.5% increase per year, initially the cash on hand does go down, but it starts to come back in year 5. Hopefully I explained that adequately.
Yeah, I know you want to say something.
On here, through the 5-year period, we actually did that. We saw that the cash reserves were at $14 million to start with in year 1, and by year 5, we reduced them to $7 million. So we actually did exactly what it is you're asking us to do. The consultant took that into account and considered a prudent amount of decline in that reserve to be $7 million over the 5 years. If we continue that through year 10, if we weren't to adjust it in the next cycle, then we would end up with a negative, even keeping it at 3.5%. But we took that exact concept and actually did that once we saw the reserves were at $14 million to reduce them $7 million.
Okay, so I think I'm going to support this, unlike I did at the initial vote, simply because I know we have the projects that have to be done over the next 5 years. But let's keep in mind that reserve that we have for any future supplemental budget requests that come before us. I'm always going to remember that we have that money sitting there before coming to the council to ask for more of that.
Yes. And just to clarify, when we do request a supplemental budget request, it does come out of that pot of money for the cash on hand. So
Yep.
that's kind of a safety factor in terms of our funding mechanism.
Thank you.
Councilmember Litster?
Thank you. So the report said we had 783 protests, and I want to acknowledge them. There's 783 people who are unhappy with this. You said as of this morning, it was 816,
16.
so the numbers are going up. Obviously, I concur that it's a hardship, and I think we need to be very mindful of our dollars. I recognize it's not close to 50% though it's needed, and it's at 3%, but nonetheless, obviously, there are those who took the time to protest that they are concerned. My question actually has to do with, on page 2, it has to do with where we get our revenues. It says service charges and commodity charges make up 93% of the revenue. What makes up the remaining 7%?
We have miscellaneous revenues, interest on monies, but a big chunk of money comes from our lease revenue for cell towers on water tank sites, waterworks property
And
sites.
so that's and what's my curiosity? So those lease funds go into our water fund to defray improvement or
Yes.
costs.
And there's other miscellaneous revenues. I can't remember them off the top of my head.
Okay, very good. I am also going to vote in favor, but I'm still somewhat bothered where page 22 of the report, it talks about that we raised the 3.5% for 5 years during COVID, but didn't do the capital improvements, and there were staffing shortages. So in my mind, that should have all bankrolled what we're doing now. But I think that Mr. Mitchell, you made the case that we're doing enough right now that we're going to make up what we didn't do and more. Are you still standing firm with that?
That's the plan.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to seeing all that work getting done. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to open the hearing for anyone in city council chambers wishing to be heard.
Madam Mayor, we have no public testimony on this item.
Thank you. Are there any further comments or questions from city council members?
Michael raised his hand but didn't fill out a card.
Mr. Shaw, did you want to speak? Okay, please. That way everyone can hear. Thank you.
And they're going to make you fill out a card after the fact to be sure you're legal.
Is there not a pass-through 2% raise that's going to happen every year as well? So really, we're talking about a 5.5% raise over the 5 years. So we're looking at more like close to a 30% increase in our water rates by the time we get to 2030. Am I incorrect there?
You're correct in that there is a Cayugas cost pass-through,
Yeah, 2%.
a commodity increase. It is different every year. We won't know that till late fall of a calendar year, until the Cayugas Board of Directors makes their final determination. And it goes into effect January 1st of the following year.
Okay, so it was just an estimate of the 2%.
Correct.
Okay. All right, that was.
Thank you. Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to maybe ask the other council member the question in a different way. In 2026, even with the 3.5% increase and the strategy of our consultants in play, does the proposed rate for the resident go up or go down in 2026?
Yeah, there might have been a little confusion in the staff report. The water rates are comprised of several different categories. One category does go down the first year, but goes up the second year. And that category, one of the categories is residential, but it's the flat rate that's charged every 2 months. It goes down about, I think it's almost $2 a month, but the commodity charge still increases. So most of that's made up in terms of how much water a resident uses.
And my point in asking that question is that all of that taken into consideration gives the ratepayer the most balanced and predictable and slow-growing cost over this 5-year period.
That's correct.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions? All right, this hearing is now closed. I will now entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move the, wow, it's really long. I move the motion as presented in the report.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Call for the vote, please.
The motion passes unanimously. Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, the next public hearing item is 5C. A public hearing to adopt a resolution authorizing the Ventura County Waterworks District Number 8 to join the California Statewide Communities Development Authority and participate in the statewide community infrastructure program. The reading of the resolution is as follows. Resolution number 2025-34, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Ventura County Waterworks District Number 8, authorizing the Ventura County Waterworks District Number 8 to become a CSCDA program participant and to join the statewide community infrastructure program, authorizing the California Statewide Communities Development Authority to accept applications from property owners, conduct special assessment proceedings, and levy assessments and special taxes, and to form assessment districts and community facilities districts within the territory of the Ventura County Waterworks District Number 8, embodying a joint community facilities agreement setting forth the terms and conditions of community facilities district financings, approving form of acquisition agreement for use when applicable, and authorizing related actions. Assistant to the City Manager, Angel Sierra, is here to present this item.
Good evening, Chair Kavanaugh and members of the board. Tonight for your consideration is Resolution 2025-34.
I'm sorry, I forgot to interrupt you. Before we start here, are there any ex parte communications? I almost got in trouble by the city attorney. All right, now you may start your report, Angel. Sorry about that.
Once again, good evening, Chair Kavanaugh and members of the board. Tonight for your consideration is Resolution 2025-34, authorizing the Ventura County Waterworks District Number 8 to join the California Statewide Community Development Authority and participate in the Statewide Community Infrastructure Program, or SCIP. The CSCDA is a joint powers authority sponsored by the League of California Cities and the California State Association of Counties. SCIP is a program that has been in place since 2002 and has been used by over 530 local agencies across California. On April 21st, 2025, the City Council authored the City of Simi Valley to join CSCDA and participate in the SCIP program. Because the Los Canyons project lies within the Ventura County Waterworks District Number 8 service boundaries, a separate resolution from the District Board is required to enable SCIP financing for project-related improvements. The proposed resolution will allow the CSCDA to accept applications from property owners within the district's jurisdiction and carry out all necessary actions to implement this financing mechanism, including the option to fund public services through special taxes on standalone projects. The action before you this evening is solely to authorize the district to join CSCDA to allow applicants within the jurisdiction to access the SCIP program. There are no specific projects under consideration as part of this action, and any future project proposed for SCIP financing will still be required to go through the city's existing review and approval process. Participation in SCIP is entirely voluntary. If the program is used, CSCDA administers the entire process, from district formation to bond issuance and ongoing administration, at no cost or liability to the district. For property owners, SCIP provides access to long-term, low-cost financing that can reduce upfront costs and improve project feasibility. For the district, SCIP offers a competitive economic development tool that supports timely construction of public infrastructure and encourages larger upfront fee payments. This concludes staff report, and staff's available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sierra. Are there any questions of staff from City Council? Councilmember Litzter.
So I just want to be clear, we are not speaking as council members right now. We are now voting as water board members, isn't that correct? I just want to be sure we're very clear.
Correct.
And so basically, we went through this process previously to authorize the city so that funding could be done for actually development purposes. This would, I'm just trying to, well, I should say for things with the building part of it. By allowing this, this allows potentially the borrowing for projects that would have to do with providing utility water service for the Lost Canyons development.
Correct.
Is that-
Right. Any development-related projects. I mean, there are, eligibility requirements as to what it could fund, but yes, in essence.
And they couldn't have done that with what we did previously?
Because the project is within the boundary of the waterworks districts, it requires a separate action of the waterworks district.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you. So those of us who own homes would consider ourselves property owners, right? But in this, can you clarify what is meant by who would be defined as a property owner in this program? Because it probably wouldn't be someone who just owns a single-family home, right?
Correct. So, the project itself, the property owner would potentially be the developer, but in this scenario, I mean, it could be any property owner as long as the project that they're requesting the funding for meets the criteria of the actual project.
So is it like a track?
It could be.
And then what's their legal responsibility to the people who are buying into that track?
Legal
To
responsibility.
let them know of the,
So all of that is done through the real estate process. It has to be identified that there is an assessment on their property. So, the title report, everything is indicated on that. Their property taxes will have indication on that, indicating that there is an assessment.
it's a good program, right? Because it's another financing option to promote, people, a low interest or a way that they can finance it. So my question is, how do we let developers or so forth know that we're part of this process? Is there a list of vendors and we're one of the people on there? Or how would they know?
So for the CSCDA, they would probably have us as one of the participating members, correct?
So developers would see that we're now a part of that list and then they can take advantage of the program.
Correct.
All right, those are just my clarification questions. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to open the hearing for anyone in the City Council chambers wishing to be heard.
Madam Mayor, we have no public testimony for this item.
All right, thank you. And are there any further comments or questions from City Council members? Seeing none, I will now close this hearing. I will entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move the Board of Directors adopt resolution number 2025-34, authorizing the Ventura County Waterworks District Number 8 to join the California Statewide Communities Development Authority and participate in the statewide community infrastructure program.
Second.
Thank you. Call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Sierra.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 7, the consent calendar, and there are 3 resolutions for your consideration this evening. Consent item 10, resolution number 2025-35, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley ratifying the Ventura County Fire Protection District's ordinance number 34, Article 3, Section 903, Article 3, Appendix B, and Article 4, Section 604.11, pertaining to building standards to be effective within the jurisdictional boundaries of the City of Simi Valley. Consent item 11, resolution number 2025-36, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley establishing the City Council meeting schedule for the calendar year of 2026. And consent item 12, resolution number 2025-37, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley authorizing the execution and filming of a claim with the Ventura County Transportation Commission, VCTC, for allocation of Transportation Development Act funds for fiscal year 2025-26.
Madam Mayor, I'll move consent.
Second?
Call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
I think that's the first time we've had 12 consent items and passed. Very good, thank you.
And I could have talked about all of them, but I've already had the conversations previously, and we're okay.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and
lost the
members of the
bet.
City Council, next on the agenda is item 8. Approve the purchase of equipment and services to support the city's transition to the regional radio system, and Administrative Services Director Carolyn Johnson and Deputy Administrative Services Director of Information Services Gary Boswell are here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Gary Boswell, and I'm here to discuss the approval of purchase of equipment and services to support the city's radio transition to the regional radio system. Currently, we have a radio system that supports communications across all the city departments, including police, water, sanitation, public works, transit, crossing guards, code enforcement, and building and safety. There's more than 500 radios installed on both cars, as well as on officers' shoulders and crossing guards, etc. Currently, public safety radio system was installed in 2006. It had an expected lifespan of 10 years. The standalone system has far exceeded that lifespan, but replacement parts are no longer manufactured and vendor support has ended. On September 15th, the City Council approved an MOU formalizing the city's participation in the Ventura County Regional Radio System. On October 2nd, Oversight Committee approved the city's membership, granting a formal governance role for the city in that regional radio system. The regional radio system itself is operated by the County of Ventura, but it's governed by the participating agencies. The participating agencies included the County of Ventura, the cities of Ventura, Oxnard, Santa Paula, Port Hueneme, and Gold Coast Transit. It's a subscription-based model, costing approximately $19.96 per radio per month. The benefits are it's a secure digital radio system that goes across the entire county. It's got enhanced interoperability during mutual aid and regional events, and it's a shared infrastructure which reduces long-term maintenance and costs. So tonight, for this project, there's an initial cost for services and equipment of $6.6 million, and then there is a reoccurring cost because of the subscription over the next 7 years of $1.8 million, and we're asking for a contingency of $425,000 for the project, bringing a total to $8.9 million. Highlights and major radio parts of the project: Motorola Equipment and Services, $5.7 million. That is what we are asking for tonight. There's also going to be project management services, installation of radios and consoles, 911 dispatch mounts, equipment for interoperability with other agencies in Los Angeles County, for example, 911 voice recorders, regional subscription fees, network connectivity, and then, of course, the contingency, again, bringing the total cost for over 7 years to $8.9 million. To fund this project, there is a radio project account that was created a while back, and it has a fund balance of $3.4 million. Tonight, as part of the request, we are asking to transfer $5.4 million from the COVID-19 Recovery Fund. And this ensures implementation, maintenance, and related services for 7 years. So we are asking for this project to be funded for the full 7 years from these two funds. After 2032, it's going to cost approximately $420,000 per year, and that will be incorporated into those annual budgets beginning in 2032. Benefits of moving forward now. The city's current public safety radio system has way exceeded its lifespan, and we're experiencing reliability issues. Motorola's pricing was available through a competitively bid Sourcewell contract. Approving the agreement now allows the city to capture more than $660,000 in negotiated savings and keep the implementation on schedule with a completion within 6 to 8 months. And it's going to maintain the project timeline and avoid future cost increases. Project timeline, November 2025, tonight. Hopefully the council approves the Motorola contract and funding for the entire project for 7 years. In December, the plan is to return with the remaining agreements. Those are labor and services and equipment for the consoles, the recorder, interoperability, project management, and other things that are necessary for this project to be complete. And then in Q1, we're going to be doing equipment installation, programming, testing, migration over for the handheld radios, the mobile radios, as well as the consoles. Q2 through Q3, training and cut over for some of the other, we're going to do police department first and then some of the other departments later as far as the project is concerned. Environmental services, public works, for example. And late in 2026, we'll have full transition to the regional radio system. It's estimated it will take 6 to 8 months for the transition. Next steps, execute the Motorola agreement to lock in the discounted pricing. Begin the implementation of the 911 dispatch consoles and the radios. Finalize the remaining contracts and return to City Council for approval in December of 2025. And so the recommended actions for tonight are to authorize the mayor, that's actually not right. Authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with Motorola Solutions utilizing the Sourcewell Cooperative Master Contract for equipment and services in the amount of not to exceed $5,733,595, and that is the contract goes through 2032. And then the second motion is to approve a supplemental budget request and an interfund transfer from the COVID-19 fund to the Radio Communications Project Fund in the amount of $5.478 to support all of the agreements related to the regional's integration into the Ventura County regional system. Comments and questions?
Any questions of staff? Councilmember Rhodes.
What's the life expectancy of these models? If the last one was 10 and we got 20 out of it, is this still the same 10?
Yeah, it's still the same 10. Technology changes for the handheld radios, but Motorola is expecting those to have a 10-year lifespan.
Thank you.
Councilmember Lister.
So thank you. I am trying to understand, I understand what motions you'd like us to make tonight, which makes sense. In December, you're coming back with additional agreements. I'm just trying to be clear. Assuming if we fund this tonight, those agreements will be covered
Yes.
by the funds would be released this evening, but in December, there's not going to be an additional money ask. It's just the contractual approval.
There's still a lot of details for the agreements. There's 5 of them that needs to be negotiated, and I've got 3 of them, probably 90% done, but the other ones still need some finishing touches on them. And it's really just the administrative tasks of getting the quotes and statements of work and making sure that legal and purchasing are okay with the methods that we're using. But yeah, we're not going to ask for any more money in December.
Got it. Okay. And I asked these questions earlier of our city manager, but I'm going to ask them here just because I want to be sure that the answers are the same. But no, I'm kidding. This COVID-19 funds that we are transferring the funds, so this might be a Carolyn question. What's the total that's in that fund, and how much does that leave after, if we approve this, how much is left for other important projects?
So the fund total currently has $6 million in it, so that would leave about $521,000 left over.
Okay, thank you. The answer is the same. I just want to, I appreciate that. The other question I asked earlier, and I'd like it just articulated here, obviously, this is a 7-year, we are paying for 7 years of service right now, basically.
Correct.
Or we're
committing to that.
We're committing to that, I'm sorry. And one of my questions is why we are choosing to front load all the money now as opposed to come back each year and say, well, let's take some more from this account, et cetera. I like the answer I received, but I want to hear what your answer is to that.
I'm curious what the answer that
Oh, that's
you
not
received, but
that's not fair, is it? I'm
sorry. I'll give you my answer is that it is a lot of administrative work and a lot of going back and asking and renegotiating the contracts. All the contracts that we're doing, we're asking for 7 years on them. And if we were to ask for a year, it's a lot of administrative work to come back and ask for that each year. And then there's the risk of us entering into a contract, prices being raised mid inside of the contract because we've got all the prices locked in. That's actually one of the reasons why we're doing it. The administrative overhead of having to renegotiate and re-amend those contracts every year, probably the two major ones.
Very good. I like your answer very much. Her answer was, it was basically, we do it now to make sure the funds are there or not, and they don't disappear in 3 years or something. Then we're scrambling to find more money. So both answers are very good. So you work well in tandem.
Well, and there's one thing actually too I want to add. Oftentimes when the city enters into multi-year contracts, the first year is budgeted, and then the following years we budget for it in upcoming years. Right. In this particular instance, we have the funds available in the COVID-19 fund. And in this case, we would just be identifying that these are now the funds for this project. So instead of having to come back and budget for this project year after year, we've already identified those funds.
Do the funds actually get transferred out and put into the radio, or do they stay in that pot and then they get transferred as needed?
I would recommend that we put them in the radio fund.
Got it. Okay.
I think that's what the recommendation actually is to do.
Very,
is to
understood.
transfer the funds over.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Ayala.
My comments were along the lines of yours. I just think it's always important, and thank you for pointing it out, Mr. Boswell, that when we're dealing with a lot of money, we already had money allocated in that project fund as well as COVID monies coming over. So I think it's always important for the public to know that this, even though it's a lot of money, we kind of planned for it in terms of knowing this project was going to come. My question is, after the 7 years, $420,000 per year as the ongoing, are we paying for something today? Do we have a yearly fee or anything that we're doing today?
So there's a couple of fees that will be there after the first year. It's a subscription model, the same as if you were having a cell phone. So we will be paying into the regional radio fund, which is a county fund, approximately $120,000 per year. It's based upon the number of radios we have times $20 a month. 500 radios, that's where we get the $120,000 a year.
But today, like if we were not part of it, what are we paying for services today?
For services today, right now, we have a service contract on our aging system, and it is $200,000 a year. Yeah.
So it's not, the 420 isn't just brand new money that has to be realized. We're paying money each year already anyway.
And there's actually going to be, once we're fully transitioned over, there are savings that we're going to be getting, because currently we pay on Oat Mountain, which is between here and the San Fernando Valley, we pay leases to both the county of Los Angeles and the state for that. We also pay for a microwave connection between there and some of the other locations. Not a lot of money, but
But all of
is-
those can be
but it does add
eliminated
up.
going,
Yeah, it's
going
like-
to this
It's
model.
like $10,000 a year or something like that. But that's going to be a offset.
But that also helps with all of the, like you were saying, the administrative aspect of you having to monitor all of these things kind of goes away, right? And one day you'd like to retire.
One of these days, I'd like to retire. I
Very
still
good.
have a while, though.
All right, we'll see.
I'm still having fun.
Great.
One comment that I would like to make, though, is that we have spent 3 years working on this, and the other options were upwards of $12 to $15 million.
Thank you, Mr. Boswell. Will entertain a motion.
I would be happy to move. Although I should make it the official motion, shouldn't I? I move to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with Motorola Solutions in a form approved by the city attorney or designee utilizing the Sourcewell Cooperative Master Contract, et cetera. Do I need to read the whole thing? No, technically not. I can just say, and I also move to approve a supplemental budget request and interfund transfer from the COVID-19 Recovery Fund 271, the amount of $5,478,326 to support all agreements, et cetera.
Call for the vote. Oh, I'm sorry, I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 9A, consideration of proposed revisions to the terms and conditions to the resolution for management designated employees. And Assistant City Manager Luis Garibay is here to present this item.
This one? Right. Ready? All right. Good? All right. I know I'm not. So, but you know what? In this line of work, you got to be able to pinch hit when you pinch hit, right? So, here we go. Oh. There she is.
And Shannon Nash, Senior HR Analyst, will be presenting.
Thank you. Mayor, City Council members, I will be walking through the changes contemplated over the next 2 fiscal years for the unrepresented management group. Of all current employees, there are 131 unrepresented management employees that include 3 in the executive management group. The list on the screen details in which departments those employees work. The term of the agreement is effective for fiscal years 2025, 26, and 2026-27. The monthly semi-flex benefit for both 2026 and 2027 plan years will increase to $2,406 for management and $2,600 for executive management, with the opt-out amounts remaining the same as in prior years. The annual leave accrual limit for the chief of police will be defined in his contract. As far as changes to salary and other compensation, in year 1, there would be a one-time payment of $1,000 and a 3% salary adjustment effective 12/15/2025, which would be paid out in January 2nd of 2026 with that paycheck. In year 2, there would be another 3% salary adjustment effective 6/29/26, and the bottom 5% of all salary ranges would then be eliminated. Classification studies were performed of individuals that departments believed were working out of class. Should the City Council approve these reclassification requests, the incumbents in these positions will be placed in their respective positions and would be provided a salary increase effective with the first pay period after adoption. The changes to the terms and conditions of employment for the unrepresented management group aligns with the City Council pillar of excellence of providing excellent city government, with the enhanced focus area goal of working towards ensuring competitive compensation for city staff. The total 2-year cost is just under $2.5 million, with approximately 26% of the year 1 cost covered by salary savings from vacancies. The year 2 cost would be included in the fiscal year 2026-27 budget. At this time, staff recommends that the City Council consider the proposed revisions of the terms and conditions of the Management Designated Employees Resolution and place this matter on the December 1st, 2025 City Council meeting agenda for final determination on the proposed resolution. And this would conclude staff's presentation, and we are available for questions.
Are there any questions from council? I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move to consider the proposed revisions to the terms and conditions to the Management Designated Employees Resolution, place this matter on the December 1, 2025 City Council meeting agenda for final determination on the proposed resolution.
Second.
Call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you for the presentation.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 10A, City Council member reports.
Councilmember Ayala, you're up.
Thank you. November 6th, I attended the Fallen Firefighters Memorial Ceremony at the Ventura County Government Center. It was very nice to be there. Also on November 6th, I presented a certificate on behalf of the city to the Teacher of the Month, Parkview Elementary, Mr. Eric Kahlberg. He's been teaching for over 25 years there, and so we congratulate him. Also, I attended on November 6th the Hispanic Business Alliance. Kevin Joyce from Steelwave was the featured speaker, and so he gave an update on the plans for the town center. And the big thing that was emphasized by the attendees was family-friendly venues is what they told him to focus on, which I don't think is any surprise to those of us up here. November 10th, I attended the grand opening of the Urbane Cafe. Very happy that they're right across the street from us now. November 11th, I attended the Salute to Wellness for our Veterans Day celebration. Thanks to the Park District for putting that on. They did a great job. November 12th, I attended the budget workshop where we hope to prioritize the city's goals for 2026. November 14th, I went to the grand opening of the Mathnasium, which is, again, just right across the street. Isabella, my daughter, went with me. Today, she brought home her progress report packet. She got 100% on her math test, and she said, now I don't have to go back to Mathnasium. Also, on November 14th, I supported the Cultural Arts Center. They had their Greatest Showman sing-along, which was very well attended. Lots of people were there. November 15th, the Kids Dental Pals and Orthodontics grand opening. A few of us were able to go. A couple of things about them that stood out. Number one is that they accept Medi-Cal. And we do not have many places in Simi Valley, especially at dentists, that accept Medi-Cal. So that is one of the things that they are emphasizing. The The other thing is they do both general dentistry and orthodontics, so braces and so forth. So it's a one-stop shop for all of these kids to go who may not have another place to serve them in terms of their dental health. So it's a great addition to the city. And today I attended the swearing in of Sergeant Brennan. He was promoted actually to commander, and Officers Schreck and Royce were promoted to senior officers. So congratulations to the three of them. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On the 4th, I was on a short Community Economic and Human Development Zoom call, prepping for our meeting later in the week. On the 5th, I attended the SCAG Executive Administration Committee. On the 6th, we then had the SCAG CEHD meeting that we were preparing for, the SCAG Regional Conference meeting, and I also attended the Clean Power Alliance. On the 10th, I also attended the Urbane Cafe opening. Congratulations. On the 11th, on Veterans Day, I represented the city up at the Reagan Library. They have a string of events that go most of the day long, including a reenactment of the flag at Iwo Jima, which is very emotional, and they always put on a great program up at the Reagan. On the 12th, I attended the budget workshop here at the city. On the 13th, I had a Cal Cities Leadership Institute, the final in their series of education programs, and it was a Zoom call. And then today, I also attended the swearing in of our officers being promoted, and congratulations to all of them. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Litster.
Thank you. A few things I'd like to share with the council. On Tuesday, November the 4th, I, along with Mayor Pro Tem Judge, did attend the Santa Susana site tour, and then later that evening I went to the public meeting. But it was basically a site tour being sponsored by the Stormwater Runoff Panel at SSFL, and they took us around all the different places where there was concern about water runoff, et cetera, and what they had done or were doing. And then later that evening went to a presentation where they spoke at length, and I realized there's a lot of very brilliant people out there. That was my first takeaway. Actually, I had two things that I took away. The first was that I feel pretty confident that that Boeing is working and hard to be sure that there is no runoff issues, and the steps they're taking seem to be very positive. But the second is something that Michael Shaw alluded to earlier that I was concerned. We received some correspondence from someone about potentially SSFL using our local WM receptacle for trash, or excuse me, for some of the site dirt movement. One of the first sites that they showed us there was actually a firing range that had been used for years, and they were proudly showing us how they had removed all of the dirt. They had categorized it, this was with lead runoff, they'd categorized it as being environmentally harmful, and then the dirt that they said was okay, was not affected as much, or was not affected and was safe. And basically they told us where it was all carted to, and it was very clear that a portion of it went into our landfill, and that caused me some real concern that if they did this for the shooting range, Boeing did, that had set up a precedence that they would do it for other dirt reclamation. And so it gave credence to the statement that they would be using it for some of their their dirt removal. And that was very concerning to me because I don't know that you can be ever 100% sure that the earth that you're moving is completely clean. So anyway, so that was my one concerning takeaway. Came back and had conversations with our city manager. I'm appreciative that she reached out to WM and with concerns, and basically they have made a statement which we can give to the public and share, I'm sure, but basically stating very clearly that even though they may have been identified in the report as a receiver of earth, they will not be receiving any of it. And I concur, it makes absolutely no sense to go from one side
of the mountain to the other side of the mountain. It just makes zero sense. And so I was pleased that WMK made that statement. Nicole Stetson, the landfill manager, made that statement. Later on, I'm going to request that we have supporting letters that support this presence to the county and others, et cetera, but that'll be later. So that was my takeaway from that day, that we need to be diligent to be sure that all cleanup levers don't affect our community. Thursday, November 6th, I attended SCAG's Energy Environment Committee meeting. Also attended the Teacher of the Month where we honored Eric Kahlberg, which was great. And interestingly enough, I was going to mention a reporter reached out about the Santa Susana Field Lab. So clearly, anyway, but that's neither here nor there. I had that conversation as well on that date. Following week, Monday, November 10th, what Councilmember Ayala failed to mention is that he was in line at 7:30 in the morning at the senior center on that day to pick up tickets for his mother for the, I know that because I was in line too, but I was behind him. He got in line earlier than me. There was a constituent who was homebound and asked if I could stand in line to get tickets to go for the lovely Rotary Club Thanksgiving meal, and so he was there as well. But I just wanted to say thank you to the Rotarians who do so much, that people are willing to be there at 7:30 in the morning to get tickets for that lovely event. Also attended the Urbane Cafe ribbon cutting, which is delighted to have them here. And then also attended the Council on Aging meeting with Mayor Pro Tem Judge. One of my takeaways from that meeting, there's a big Legends of Soul fundraiser that's taking place. They have changed the date of one of them. It was supposed to be in December. The Saturday has been moved now to January 4th. They found that the Sunday matinee was better received, so if you thought your December was too busy, now you can go in January and see them January 4th. So that was a change that was announced there. Tuesday, November 11th, of course, was Veterans Day. I must commend our Mayor Pro Tem Judge, Mike Judge, who was the MC at the Veterans Day celebration that took place at Veterans Park. They reenacted the USO. It was actually really well done. A wonderful tribute to our veterans. And I will tell you, one of the things that I delighted most was when it was all over, I met a lovely couple, and I want to be sure I say their names correctly, who met in the Army 74 years ago, and they're celebrating their 74th anniversary. Next year will be 75 years. So I wanted to be sure and recognize Flo and Paul Hofker, who are celebrating, I thought the perfect celebration for Veterans Day to be there together, in their 90s together. On Wednesday, November 12th, I also attended the budget workshop. That was very constructive, thank you. Thursday, November 13th, attended the VCOG board meeting. A few things I just wanted to share that came out of that I think we need to be aware of. AB 339 was referenced, which is the Ortega bill, which is going to require that we need to look at whether or not, before we send things out for RFP for labor, we need to see if it actually can be done by in-house employees, et cetera, and there's a 45-day waiting period that could affect our city, and so just something that we need to look at. The other thing that came out was there was a discussion about the Bennett bill, and that's, we read in our reports about the $21 million potential backup generator payment. What came out, though, was that the Bennett bill has been modified somewhat in that it doesn't necessarily have to be permanent backup generators. It could be transitional, it could be. And so I think that, I know that council, yes, that Samantha and I we have talked about that, and she's going to get new figures, hopefully, that will reduce that price tag for us. But that remains to be seen. So I appreciated that coming out of the meeting. A few other things that came out of that meeting. Metropolitan Water District said that we're up to 50% of our water allotment, which is good. I'm hoping that the rain we've had this weekend even takes it up higher, but that's looking good for us. The other thing that I thought was interesting is that we had a presentation by Mr. Anderson of SCE. He confirmed some of the things we've had people share with us, that it is correct that there is no reimbursements for acts of nature. So in other words, someone whose medicine goes bad or loses food because of a PSPS event,
they're out of luck. They're not, that's considered an act of nature because of winds, et cetera, and so they cannot get their reimbursement. It's only if maybe the power goes out because of a problem. Anyway, so he confirmed that is accurate, which is disappointing. Also, they talked about undergrounding projects. There are no undergrounding projects slated for Simi Valley at all. Thousand Oaks has some, but we have nothing, so we can keep lobbying for some of that. Anyway, so it was, yeah, we had a strong conversation. Anyway, a good conversation. Also that night, I attended the volunteer fair. Thank you for those who put that on. There's some great service organizations that could use our help in volunteering. In fact, I might mention Salvation Army is looking for bell ringers, so I'm just letting you guys know that you might be getting something in your box. I also attended Neighborhood Council 3's meeting that evening, appreciated it, that meeting. Saturday, November the 15th, I too attended the Kids Dental Palace and Orthodontics, and just to piggyback on what Councilmember Ayala said, yes, they accept Medi-Cal, and I believe part of the reason they came to Simi Valley is that they saw that there was no other. I'm going to speak for 5 more minutes, Councilmember Rose, just because you're timing me. Anyway, there are no other Medi-Cal children's dentists. The other thing that I'm going to mention, this is something that to honor our mayor, that I also attended Romeo and Juliet at Royal High School, and it was the most outstanding Shakespearean event I've been to in a very long time, done at the high school level. And even though you're timing me, I'm going to take the time to acknowledge them, Councilmember Rhodes. And with that, I will end my report.
He really is timing.
I know he is, and I don't care.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem Judge.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On Tuesday, November the 4th, I too attended the invitation up to the Santa Susana Field Laboratory to observe what they'd done, and they have done nothing different than they reported. So I had to leave for a personal reason, although I did enjoy the bus trip around the parking lot. On Wednesday, November 5th, I attended an EAC meeting for SCAG. That was mostly just to deal with the regional council. On Thursday, November 6th, I attended the SCAG transportation. Let me go back to the field lab real quick, because I did hear the same thing that Councilmember Lister heard and that Mr. Shaw heard about the stuff being dumped at our landfill. So that night, I sent an email out to friends of mine at the landfill to verify what was going on up there after I let the city manager know that they were making those statements up there. And so the letter we received is a response to that. And we are not receiving that stuff in our landfill. So where was I? Okay. Thursday, November 6th, SCAG Regional Council meeting. Nothing much happened there that was determinative for Simi Valley. We did pass some stuff during Transportation Committee, and there are some projects we had some skin in the game there, especially by getting some funds from the state and federal government. Biggest thing about the Regional Council meeting was we did have a presentation by our state's Secretary of Transportation, which was interesting to say the least. Not a whole lot to go on there for Simi Valley, but he's very, very optimistic about the future of things in California. Yeah, that too. Friday, November 7th, I went on a water tour with Callegas. Callegas sponsored a water tour. I'd been on one back in 2017, right before the Oroville Dam collapsed. And so I wanted to go back up there to see the progress they'd made on fixing it and what they've done to improve it. And I've done a lot of progress. I mean, it took them only 2 years to fix it and get it better than it was before. And Oroville is doing great. It was, almost 50% filled, and this was right after the summer drain off. So that's a great, harbinger for the rest of the year. Snowfall and all the other water from the winter is definitely going to fill that. So our water supply from Oroville should be very secure. That lasted 3 days. We went all the way from Oroville back down through our reservoirs here in Los Angeles County, inspecting them all and seeing all the new stuff going on there. I want to point out, though, that a lot of discussion during that meeting was about the Delta Conveyance Project. And if you haven't heard of that before, that's the project that keeps getting kicked down the road, first by Jerry Brown, now by Gavin Newsom. This is a project that Southern California desperately needs. This is a way to bypass the Delta's insecurities, the stuff that might happen in the Delta if there is an emergency up there that would seriously, seriously affect our water supply down here in the south. So our city is already making progress to look into the Callegas-sponsored desal plants, the desalinization of our brine line, or whatever else. They call it something new every year. But But that is a very important thing that I think our city council should aggressively pursue and make sure that that gets put into place, because even though it won't totally replace what we might lose if anything happens up in the Delta, it will definitely give us a little more wiggle room as far as time, because right now with the water supply we have stored down here in the south, for us especially, is about 5 months. And doing 2 years to fix the Oroville Dam was amazing. It took them 6 months to fix the overchange on the 5 when the earthquake hit in 94. So I don't expect the state to be moving really fast. I mean, they probably want to, but I just don't see it happening if anything happens up in Oroville. So we have to extend our water supplies down here. On Monday, November 10th, I got more great news. I went to the State of the Region and put on by the Ventura County Community Council, is that what they're called? VCCA? Ventura County Civic Alliance. It's a great program. They do it every 2 years, correct? Yep. And basically just lay out what's going on in our county. So what's going on in our county? We're getting older. The entire county's getting older. We're not having as many people enroll in our schools. We're not having many people looking for jobs that we're going to need for in the future. So just be aware of it. Our county's still in great shape. We still have great, home values. Everything's going the way it should go as far as we're getting a lot more economic stuff. Amgen is moving and building a lot of stuff in the county. So there's a lot of good economic news coming out of the VCCA report. But there's nothing really earth-shaking or groundbreaking, because it's like the county is just, along with most of Southern California, there's not a lot of influx of younger families into our county. So we have to find a way to fix that. Tuesday, November 11th, I was honored to be asked by the Park District to serve as the MC during the Veterans Day ceremony over there. They always do a great job putting on that event, and again, I just appreciate being asked, and I had a good time, even though I did screw the script up a couple times. It was very fun. Always great to have something to do on Veterans Day. November 12th, I attended the budget workshop. It was very enlightening and helpful. Friday, November 14th, I attended the Mathnasium grand opening along with everyone else. And on Saturday, November 15th, I attended the Dental Pals and Orthodontics grand opening, although I did drop the certificate in the water during the rain, so I got to get them a new one. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. On Wednesday, November 5th, I attended the EDC Executive Committee meeting where we rehired Bruce Stensley for another couple of years, so he'll be staying on. He does a great job. He's our executive director. On Thursday, November 6th, I, along with Councilmember Ayala, attended the Fallen Firefighters Memorial. Earlier this year, we lost a Simi Valley firefighter, Tommy Minadio, but his name will be placed on there next year. It has to go through the county, the state, and then federal, and then that way his name will be on all three. So I promised I would be there next year for that. And the speaker was Supervisor Parvin, so that was nice. And I got a challenge coin, so that was nice too. On Friday, November 7th, I attended the disaster training that was given to us by Patrick Maynard from the county for elected officials. It was very informative and information I wasn't aware of. And Dr. Martita Martinez Bravo from Camarillo attended with me, and then she took a tour of our police station. So she expressed an interest in that, and so Eileen Connor took her on her tour. On Saturday, November 8th, I attended the Marine Corps Ball. I had a wonderful time. It was a great group of people. We had a 3-star general as the keynote speaker. He was very good. It was a very fun evening, and I got a phone call that I won one of the raffles. I don't know which one yet, so I have to return the call. So that was a great event. On Monday, November 10th, I also attended the opening for Urbane Cafe. That was their 41st store. So very impressed that they now have 2 in Simi Valley, and those of us in the center and on the east side are happy where it's located. It's easy to get to. On Tuesday, November 11th, I also attended the Salute to Wellness, a Veterans Day of Connection, and Mayor Pro Tem Judge did a great job emceeing. So that was very, they did it a little bit different, and they had a USO part of it where we had 3 young ladies from Santa Susana High School. They sang the national anthem, but then they also did the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from Company B. They were awesome. They did a great job. Then they had some dancers, and then we had a great little Girl Scouts lead the flag salute. On Wednesday, November 12th, I also attended the budget workshop. That went very well. Thank you, City Manager. On Thursday, November 13th, I had the pleasure of speaking to the at the brown bag lunch at Royal High School for Mr. Downey and Mr. Dennert. You know, I can talk to a room full of adults, but, you know, having that many kids just stare at you, it's really, it can really be intimidating. And they don't smile at my jokes because they don't get them. So, but I told Mr. Dennert that, and he goes, I'll help you out. And he did. He kind of helped out a little bit. We had a quote. He wanted us to quote. So he suggested I use, "Your vote is hope for our future." So that was the quote that we did for the kids. So that was very good. And that's it. That's all I have for my calendar. That's all right. Item 10B? Okay. Do I have any thing for future agenda items?
I have one.
Councilmember Ayala.
I'd like to request that the city explore creating a local business preference and participation policy, which would encourage the use of Simi Valley-based contractors such as plumbing, electrical, air on redevelopment and other construction projects.
For the community as a whole or for the city?
As a whole, it would be two different, which I know would be two different things because there would be different rules around whether it is public funded or privately funded.
No, I was going to say, I'd be happy to have more information about it. I'm not quite understanding what and how that would look like.
Yep,
Happy
so
to-
other cities have these types of plans in place where when there is a project that is going up, a building, town center, things like that, that preference is given to local businesses, windows, doors, plumbing, air, et cetera, to be able to bid on those jobs and have preference to do the work.
Okay, now I know what you mean. Okay, thank
Which
you.
would allow our businesses here in Simi to hire more people and get the jobs there.
Correct. All right, thank you. Councilmember Litster. Oh, yeah, Elaine said she would.
Yes, we'd be happy to look into what that entails and what that could look like for us. I referenced this in my discussion of activities. I was very concerned when I went to SSFL. I wanted to be sure that our residents knew that we're not going to allow dirt to be transferred from one side to the other side. And so I very much appreciated Mayor Pro Tem's efforts as well as mine, just to reach out to WM. So very grateful that we have this saying that they're not going to accept the dirt. But I would like the city to go a little further and write a letter to our county board of supervisors who oversees the landfill, as well as the committee that oversees that on the county level, and also to Boeing itself, expressing our decision, our support for WM, and that we do not intend for them to use our landfill for any of the cleanup efforts at SSFL. I'd like to support that. I'd like us to issue a letter in tandem with what WM has already done.
I think that would be a good idea. No, just a,
Not agenda, I just would like a letter written, if we're okay with that. Letters written, I should say, multiple.
all right, thank you. Anything else? All right, with nothing else going, I'm going to adjourn tonight's meeting. So we're adjourned.